Welcome back to Stationeers. This is part 8 of my playthrough of Europa, the moon of Jupiter, on stationary difficulty. Except now my hunger and thirst rate is slightly reduced because it was just annoying, it was no longer a challenge. And also it is kind of no longer really a playthrough series because I'm doing so much between videos, because there's so much to be done. Here, for example, I expanded my station a bit further even, so that we have more storage space. I cleaned everything up, and you know, that would just be boring to show on video, so I skipped that part. But there were no deaths, I think, so it was just, you know, proper playthrough. So, yeah. Just imagine you saw me doing all those things. Which will be easier once I've explained what I've actually done here. For example, we have now, at our manufactories, we have stackers, so what comes out, they will not just be plopped down in en masse, but it will be stacked. But not only that, but those who have already done so, which is most stationeers, I believe, will be surprised to see that when I turn off the manufactory, the stacker actually spits out what it has, and I did that with MIPS, you know, with the IC10 program, and I will show you how that's done. It's not hard to do, but you know, it's very convenient. Also, I mean, I set this whole thing up primarily to save electricity, because I always turned these things on and off manually whenever I turned on these things, but now it's just synchronized. But in addition, when I turn this off, it will not just turn this thing off, but it will check first if it's empty. If it's not empty, it will spit things out, and then eventually it will turn it off. So let me show you that. By now we have actually 4 chips here. Climate control, which I will show you, and we have some more pipes here, you know, which actually keep it well in balance. And yes, now I'm using this boiler to heat the base. Automated. Then we have the storm thing, which just reads out the storm countdown value from up there and then shows it in quotation marks on the housing, aka we should put up an LED later, maybe we'll do that in this video. Then we have the power, then we have the fuel mix, which controls that stuff here and also this chamber. And then we have the power controller, which is what we want to deal with now. Power. Import. Edit. Let's go right to the place where that's done. And today we will deal with a new command or two. So let's see. First up here, I am defining, as per usual, the number that refers to the device type. You know, let's say we have 10 active vents in my station, and then I do what I'm doing here. I define a number for that device type. Then I can address all of those active vents at once by just using this number. And you don't see a number here because this thing here produces the number, and this thing then is the name that represents the number. I mean, why deal with the number itself? Specifically, since we can just remember how this name concept works, we can just type structure and then autolathe, and then that will usually work. Structure active vent with an uppercase A and uppercase V. I accidentally wrote this, and there was bug hunting, yeah, and that has to be considered. So first we define the manufactories, and then I have the stackers. Actually, no, wait. These are the types of the device, you know, of the manufactories, and these are the names of the device. Just in case I have more autolathes in my base, here I can address specifically one device by saying I'm using the type in combination with a name, and then only those devices of that type and with that name, which might still be multiple, but only if I'm stupid or if it makes sense, will be addressed. Up here I'm doing the same thing with the stacker. Here I define the stacker thing, the type, and then the 3 stackers that I'm using. The tool manufacturer doesn't have a stacker yet, so I didn't do that. So now that we have these names, the ones that refer to the type and the ones that refer to the name, you know, I named them with the labeler. Now that we have this, we go down here And let me explain what I'm doing here. First, I'm saying load badge named. You know, load gets a value from somewhere. And whether I load or save something, first the target of that operation has to be specified. That is true basically for all commands. The key value basically. And here I'm loading, so where will that loaded information then go? It will go into register R0. I'm not using a named register here because this is only used for a short moment, and so I'm just using the temporary value style, you know. Here I'm using named values. That's the same thing. If I say R15 or if I say day angle, the effect is the same, but it will not be as clean, it will not be as speaking, and it will probably lead to mistakes. Specifically, if I change the numbers here, everything will still work. But if I use the numbers as actual values down there, it won't. And you should use temporary values on register R0, 1, 2, etc. and you should count down with these. And these are kind of cumbersome to remember, but 0, 1, 2 and so forth are easy to remember. So named values should count down and temporary values should count up. So down here we are loading a batch, as in from all of those devices that have this type, but only those also have the name, you know, this command also exists, into the register R0, whether they are on. So I'm loading from all pipe benders, but specifically the ones with this name, from the value on, whatever that value currently is. And since we're using a batch command here, we also have to express what is supposed to happen with all those values. And I'm saying add them up, because it's only one, so we don't care really, but we have to give that information. And then I'm moving into register R1 in stacker PB. What is that? Here I'm defining the stacker as the type, and here I'm defining the individual stackers' names. So here I'm having the pipe bender stacker name, and why am I moving that into that variable? Move is basically, I mean, that is, okay, I learned assembler programming back then on Amiga with the 68K assembler, and back then already I thought, why the fuck are they calling it move? Why not copy? Because that's what this does. It copies into this register that value. Now that value still exists here, and it also exists here. So that's what the move command does. I can actually see that here. Register equals provided num or register value. And this syntax here in the help that you can see there is kind of, you know, they are communicating with you in an efficient manner. In this case, they're using some kind of simple basic language. They're saying here, they're saying register shall be the provided number or register value. And here they are writing it in a very different style, but it gets the point across, you know. So now the register R1 has the name of my stacker. I will show you immediately what that is supposed to do. Down here we're saying write batch named to all the stackers that have this name, and that is then this name. See, instead of giving this value directly here, I can also just use a register once more as a placeholder, because this name here too is just a placeholder. Now, one thing to remember, because you might get confused, define defines an absolute value. Alias defines a reference. So this refers to register R15, no matter what value R15 might have. But this defines this value as an absolute. It will never be changed, except if I actually change it actively. If I actively overwrite this name with something else. So, what I'm doing is I'm finding out, is the pipe bender on, and I park that in register R0. And then I'm getting the name of the stacker, and then I'm calling a subroutine. I will go into this further in a few seconds. In this subroutine, which is being called also here for the electronics printer and for the auto lathe, so now you can see why that makes sense, because this bundle of lines, every time up here, when we're already this, you know, close to the end, not a good idea. So what it does is it compares register R0, which has been set up here, so whether the device is on, with 0. If the value is equal or less than to 0, then it shall gracefully turn off the stacker. So instead of just brutally turning off the stacker, we're turning it off in a sensitive manner. What we could have done instead, if it would not be this turning off in a sensitive manner, we could have just done this. Write into some value less than or equal R0, and then if R0 is 0. Actually, I'm recycling registers here. That's something you should try to avoid because it leads to confusion, or it can lead to confusion. So I would use another register here, ignoring that register R1 is also already meaningfully used, but if I would just bluntly do this, then I would only need register R0, which expresses if the device is on. So here I write into register R1 whether the device is on. Is off, is on. Yeah, actually I don't have to do that at all. I mean, here I'm doing a comparison and putting it into register R1, and then I can write that value directly into the stacker, you know, write stacker on and then the value. But I don't even have to do that. I can directly copy the value that I get here, you know, whether the device is on, into whether that device is on. And that device will then be synchronized with this device. Very simple. But we're trying to do something more advanced here. What we're doing is, if the device is off, so if the device is on, so if the on value is not less than or equal to 0, so it's 1, you know, would be 1, then we execute this line, which means turn the stacker on. Which stacker? Well, any stacker that has this name, and which name that is we have given here. So we are defining subroutine arguments up here. The subroutine has basically has parameters. They're not actually defined here, but they emerge from the source code, because this is not a high-level language where everything is speaking and clear, like Java, for example, which is my favorite language. But it is very rough. But you can see we need a register R1, register R2, and then register R2, R1, 0 and 1. Sorry, 0 and 1, and then we're using 2, and that is being created down. The value is created down here. Anyway, R1 and R0. So we define those two arguments, and we call them this subroutine, and then we'll work with those values. And here we do the same for the other devices. So that's what it does. What does it do then? If the device is on, it will turn the stacker on too, and then it will return. I will explain that later. But if it is off, what does it do then? It load batch name slot. It is loading a value from a slot of a device instead of loading from the device itself. See, we don't want to find out... Oh, let's pause that. We don't want to find out if the stacker is currently on or off, because then we couldn't have just used lbn class stacker r1 and then on, and then also sum, because it always wants to know what to do with the batch stuff. But we're loading from a slot of the device into the register R2. We load from the stacker, which one has been given via argument, from slot 2, the information occupied. I think I changed something. Let's see what that does. Stacker. Now here, press escape so that it's paused, and press F1 so you can check this out patiently, or you can go in here and press pause. That works too. So stacker. And once again, we have stacker and kit stacker. The kit is what you get built by the machines, and then you press the right mouse button. When you're holding in your hand, you get the build goes. You can use the mouse wheel to get different variants, if those exist. I mean, some kits only have one element. But what we need now is the device itself. How does it behave? And the difference between these two is just the direction, you know? It looks the same, but goes in this way, So, here when we scroll down, we have the logic values. Also, we have the mode, what it does. Many devices have modes, and we have the slots. And what we want to know now is where are the slots? Ah yeah, here we have the slots. We have the import slot, we have the export slot, and we have the export slot. And honestly, I don't know what the difference is. I suspect that this is when it comes into the device, so we can detect that. This is probably how it stacks things, you know, how they are stored and stacked up until they're eventually to be excreted. And and I don't know why I have to use slot 2 for this, because I mean, the device isn't yet ready to spit things out. That's why I'm actually using this code. I don't know why that is. I tried number 1, didn't work, so I have to do number 2, which is shit, but you know. So let's go back to the source code, and here too you can press pause. So when we have realized the machine is off, then we're loading into register R2 from this stacker from slot 2 whether it is occupied. And then we branch relative by 2 lines, as in we are skipping this line when R2 is less than or equal to 0. Meaning, if the slot is not occupied, meaning if the stacker doesn't have anything that we could now spit out by flipping the lever, then I don't want to programmatically flip the lever, but instead just skip to here. If though it is occupied, then we want to flip the lever, and then we go here. But this one is also special again, because what we're doing here is we're not writing the value on shall be 0 as an off, but we're writing the value of register R2. Register R2 has the information whether the slot is occupied. That is information of 0 or 1. If the slot is 0 is not occupied, we will just jump here, and so we will turn the device 0. We will turn it off. But if it is on, then we will go here and activate, and then we will not turn it off, but we will still cause it to be on. This is maybe a bit cheaty, but I mean, if it gets the job done and is super smooth in execution and experience, then why not the fuck do it this way? So what happens is the code executes, realizes there's something that the device is off, so we should also turn off the stacker, and there's something in the slot, so let's activate that, but turn the stacker on or keep it on, and then we will come along down here again and again until that activate routine has done its I don't know how long that takes, half a second, which is 1 game step, which is then basically 1 execution cycle, or 2, I don't know, I don't care, because the value here of the slot will only have become 0 once this thing is done with its activation stuff. And so then, rightfully, we say 0. But if you would say 0 right away here, then this would not actually work. Activate 1, and then turning off the device right after without yielding, without waiting, would not work. If you would insert here a yield command or a sleep statement, and I actually don't quite know the difference between the two. I think sleep 1 does exactly the same as yield does, but they implemented, it's my assumption, the sleep command, because doing 10 years when you want to sleep 10 times, 10 steps is sucky, so they just added sleep, and that's that then, and left in the yield command for backwards compatibility, or because it expresses differently what you intend to do there. Expressiveness is very important in programming. Anyway, if you would have put in a yield command here, or a sleep 1 command, then it would sleep every time, for no reason. Why the fuck would we do that if we can avoid it? Now let's go to the actual concept of subroutines. We have 16 registers. We have R0, R1, R2, up to R15. So with the R0 that makes 16 registers. But we also have 2 extra registers, which is RA and SP. SP is the stack pointer. We will talk about the stack at some point in the future, I think. I can just give you a short overview. There's the push, pop and peek command, and I haven't used the stack at all yet, but I have read about it. So when I say push R0 or pop R0 or peek R0, the following happens. Register R0's value will be put at the current... Excuse me, I have to turn off an annoyance, which is, you guessed it, once again my little program. Fucken Sie bitte off. Okay, now I push register R0's value onto the stack, which means that what is the stack? The stack is well, indeed, imagine a table on which you're working. Actually, okay, let's take a short detour. This is now off topic. I realized something idiotically so lately in the game of my decades of working at the office, that I can represent what I'm doing at the office very well as a stack. Because I'm currently working on something, but I'm being interrupted by something else that comes along, and so that's basically placed on top of that. Then I work on that thing, then it's done, then I return to the previous task. So that is something that I implemented in my little annoying reminder program. So I can appoint some, I can take some notes, and then I can put them on the stack and can rearrange the stack, and so then something new comes along, so that will be blinking, hey, you have to do this, blink, 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 and then I do that thing, and then I remove from the stack, or I delete the note entirely since it's done, or I record it, And then the next thing will blink, blink, blink. That's then the task that I was doing previously. I think such a stack concept is a great idea for all things in life, because you're always doing something, and very often you're being interrupted by other stuff, and often the things that you're doing is not just one thing, but a list of things. So I recommend that you consider the concept of stack for general purposes in your life. Now, back to this. You have a stack on your table, and now there's one sheet of paper. And the stack pointer, the SP register, is currently not pointing at that paper, but is pointing at the air atop of that piece of paper. And when I say push R0, then the value of R0 will be put into that airspace, imagining that one sheet of paper is 1 centimeter thick. So from centimeter 0 to centimeter 2, but excluding centimeter 1, that would be the first sheet of paper, and from centimeter 1 to, but excluding centimeter 2, would be the second sheet of paper, which doesn't exist yet. That's the empty airspace to which SP is currently pointing. And then I say push R0. This means that the second layer from centimeter 1 to excluding centimeter 2 will now have this sheet of paper which was in R0, and now the stack pointer will point to centimeter 2 to excluding centimeter 3 to that airspace. So the first 2 slots will have been taken, and so forth. But I think the stack pointer actually works in the negative direction, points downward. So maybe what I just told you is exactly the opposite of how it works. But the point is, the stack pointer pushes to the stack pointer points to where you're pushing this value, and then the stack pointer will be shifted by 1. When you're saying pop, you're doing the opposite, quasi the opposite. You're getting from the register, from the stack, a value into register R0, and then the stack will be moved by 1, but in the opposite direction. But what you're getting from the register will not be from the current airspace, because that doesn't make sense. There's nothing there. Or maybe there's something there, because there's probably just computer memory, and you will get the value 0 or whatever has been there so far, because you know the SP, the stack pointer, the register, is a value that you can just write yourself. You can just adjust that. So now you have a random access memory of 512 bytes or 512 values that you can just write. Anyway, and then with this you get the value from the stack, from the location that currently makes sense, which is not the current airspace where this thing is pointing, but from below it. And then this thing will also be moved 1 down, so it's still pointing at the airspace, or rather at the value that was just moved from the stack. I don't know if the value will be removed from the stack, or if the current airspace value is basically just what you just got copied into your register R0. I don't know that. I haven't used the stack yet. And peek does the same as pop, exactly the same, with one little difference: it doesn't change the stack pointer. So you can do peeking again and again. It will not change the stack pointer, but always you get the value right below the current empty airspace where the stack pointer is pointing. So that's the stack, in short, and completely off topic. Anyway, so that was SP, but we also have this other second register, the other extra register, which is RA. I don't know what that stands for, but you know, you can just remember that. If you say JAL, then you can see when you hover on it with the mouse pointer, the description: jump execution to line A and store next line number in RA. In my opinion, the description is not optimal. It was probably written down, you know, when they write many such descriptions, then they try to keep the format. So all the jump commands, they say jump execution blah blah blah, jump execution blah blah blah. And then the special stuff behind that. But in this case, it would have been more prudent to write stores the next line number in RA, then jumps execution to line A, because that's what's meaningfully happening. Because if you jump execution to line A and store next line number, what does that mean? The next line number below to where we have just jumped? No, that's not what it means. The meaning of this command is to jump to a place and then to allow you to jump back to right below here with jump RA. So that's our subroutines. Here we say jump to subroutine, and the subroutine then, later when it's done, returns to right this position, to right here, whether it's empty or not. So that's what jump RA does. It jumps to that register. And you don't have to remember that the register has this name, you just have to remember AL. That's what you have to remember. Or you can just look here, there is all functions are listed here, and the search function is currently crap because when you type here, you will also type in your source code. I mean, dude, what the fucking shit. But again, and I keep saying that in basically all my videos when I'm cursing the situation as it is, which there is good reason to, apart from the following qualifier, which is the Stationeers team is small and they are getting little money for what they're doing. They're financed by the other things that the studio is doing, and this is basically a love child project. Oh no, not love child. It's wrong. I looked that up. See, I'm German. I don't know all those terms. I'm trying to conclude what they might mean from the sound of them, but no, that's not what love child means. This is a special project that they have, and that I hope they will like continue forever, because the best game ever motherfucking made. So now we have to scroll down here leniently instead of using the search function, because you have to forgive anything that's not perfect about this game, because for the aforementioned things. Now let's scroll down to J, and then we see the J command. J for jumping to an arbitrary line, for example JRA to return execution to whatever is in RA right now, which is also a register they can use freely. I think you can just write anything into here. Why not? But why would you do that? Oh, there might be circumstances. No, whatever. So jump IL, then jump relative. Oh, jump relative, jump to line A. I think I tried that today and it didn't work. Okay, then I was mistaken. I was supposed to do a different command. Thankfully, it remembers where we were. And then we have, oh, that was all of them. The other ones, I mean, are the branch commands. Also very important. So maybe you probably have used the manufactories, whether advanced level manufactories or base level, to just peruse them to see what things are in there. What can we do with them? Yeah, guess what? You should do that with these. And then you get ideas. Oh, you can do that? That kind of thing. You know how often I said, you can do that? In my over 700 hours? Several times. Which you should listen to too, and give them some money sometimes. Because they're running entirely on donations and have no advertisements. And have quite a few stations. All of them are good. So, yeah, that was about the special registers and about subroutines. Very useful stuff, and this is the first time ever that I used subroutines, and you can see I used it in a very meaningful fashion. 2 arguments, do the stuff, and then do it 2 times more. That's worth my time. So that's what it does then. That's the automation of the stacker. Let's look at some things up here in the source code which can be simplified. I think I saw that earlier. So I can tell you another statement that I've also already talked about, but I think it might be underused otherwise. See where that is. Yeah, here I'm turning the grow light on and off. Oh, by the way, here this command is commented out with this This means just write a value to, for example, D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. These are the 6 screws that are on the housing, so you can write a value to those devices, which is like when I say SBN, CLS type, and then the name. That's the same thing, except for the screws. And SDB writes to the housing itself. And then you have to say, because that's just the standard format, I think it doesn't have any other values, setting, and then I'm writing the day angle to that, so I can just point at the housing and see that directly. Which is not practical anymore, since I put in some nice shiny black steel floors. Okay, I'm loading the day sensor's vertical angle, and then I'm making a decision. When the daylight angle is below 90, that means to me it is day. And then I want to turn the light on so that the grow light is just synchronous with the 2-week sun on this moon. But I'm doing this in the following way. If the day angle is indeed like that, then jump down here, turn the light on, and then we're done with this block, and then the rest of the code will be executed. But if that is not the case, then do not jump, so just directly execute this statement, which turns the light off. And then it has to jump to down here else we would execute this line. But that's too many lines for this simple purpose. We can solve that much easier, much simpler. See, with this statement, write into the value into this register depending on what the logic says. So currently you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines below the logic evaluation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we can reduce all of these lines to one line. 5 lines becoming one line, that is something that you do want to learn. So, what we have to do instead of this comparison, instead of branching, we need the right comparison. And then just copy the entire rest of the line, because that's all we have to do. Write into the... oh wait, there's one thing's missing. I have to say where I'm supposed to write. And I want to write into a temporary value, you know, register R0. Write into this register if this is less than that. Less than. Their angle less than 90, then this value will be 1. Else it will be 0. And then all I have to do, write the same thing here to my grow light, and then it will be on, or it will be not. Now we just saved us 4 lines of code. Write into that register whether that's true, and then write into this on state that truth value. False, 0, then it's off. 1, then it's on. Confirm, save, and hope that everything still works. Then there's another statement that... wait, there's something else. Oh right, the comparison, of course, is no longer needed. Then there's another statement I would like to show you, which is the storm value. No, not the storm value. SD? What does this statement do? Okay, ignore this. This is just a placeholder. Obviously, I didn't know this number. See, okay, let me show you something. Now we can do this without fear, because there's certainly enough lines down here. And that rhymes, and therefore it's true. Load badge named from... Do we have the daylight sensor somewhere here? Yeah. Okay, you know this, no? Load badge name from into this register from that type, which is my light sensor, and then the name of this is the type of the light sensor, the type of device from which I want to read. This is the name from which I want to read, and that the combination of the two is an AND filter. You know, from all of these that also have this name. Both has to be true, and then I can load whether it's on, for example, and then I sum that up. But I can also read something very interesting: ReferenceId. What the fuck is that? Well, okay, let me show you that. Let's take the daylight sensor. We could also use anything else. Day sense, because that value should be in all structures. Oh yeah, prefab hash. What is the prefab hash? I don't know, but I'm pretty... Okay, you can actually click here, the hash of the structure. This number here should be exactly the number that we always get when we say define CLS daysense hash structure daylight sensor. The type of the device. I think that's what this is. But anyway, what I'm currently trying to teach you is something about this, which is the exact identity of the device. And this exact identity, I'm pretty sure, is used by the obnoxious airlock consoles. I mean, they're pretty cool, but the moment you, for example, unbuild one of the vents that have been assigned, and then you build it up again, and even if you give it the right name, it will no longer work, and you can't even fix the airlock chip by tossing it down to the ground and using the screwdriver on it, which gives you a progress bar and such, but that doesn't actually fix it. You have to make a new one. There's a bug there. Because when you click something in that list, that would then store that reference ID to the actual object in the motherboard. And when you remove the active end and build it up again in that same place with the same name, that's still a new ID. The ID will, I'm pretty sure, I've been a programmer for a few decades, you should not recycle IDs. Specifically not during runtime. I mean, maybe while loading the database and it can compress everything basically to ID recycling, but during runtime, no, don't do that. Because then you would, actually in this case it would also be a problem. But you know, the cleanup, blah blah blah. Okay, also you can the IDs will not be recycled, so it would have a new ID, and therefore the airlock would now refer to an ID that no longer works. And the same is true for the IC housing screws. You know, when you turn them and then you have selected the thing that you mean, then you're not referring to that by this type and name concept, which can also lead to duplicate references, because if I have two active ends on that network which also have the same name, then that would not work. No, the screw refers to the device by the reference ID, like the airlock also does, I assume. And so if you unbuild and rebuild that, then the screw will be screwed, because then that ID will no longer exist. That is why I don't use those screws at all, I just screw around in source code. So that's the reference ID, and we have the prefab hash, which we don't use here. I mean, to use the prefab hash, like I'm doing in the source code here, edit, I would already have to have a reference to that actual device. And that's counterproductive, right? If I already have that, then how the fuck did I get there in the first place? But you know, if you have the reference ID from whatever source you might have that, then you can of course use the reference ID to in turn get the prefab hash, so that you also have the type in case you ever need that. You know, it's just, you know, you can do whatever. So what I'm showing you here is, first of all, you can, now that I have, okay, what I'm doing here is I'm getting from this specific device the reference ID, and then I once again have to give the batch mode, but since we only have one of those, this will work. Of course, this number must not be changed in the slightest fashion. So if I would use average here, I hope that would not do anything, but depending on how that's implemented, maybe we get some kind of rounding error here, or some, I don't know, probably not. But anyway, sum is the safest approach, because then it will just add this one up with, oh, there's nothing else, so nothing will happen. Anyway, so now we have in this register the objective number, the absolute number of that one object in the game world. And then here I can say, write to that device that it shall be on. And that can be useful when you deal with subroutines, because then instead of it can be useful. I mean, today I thought I would be nice to do that, and then I did that, and then it turned out that doesn't work. Because, I mean, yes, it does work, but in my specific case I needed to load from a slot, and there is no statement yet to load directly, absolutely, from the existing device ID from a slot. That doesn't exist yet. LBS as a statement doesn't exist. So I suggested that today, and others did so too, but they just didn't implement that yet. Okay, so that's what you can do. You can handle a device writing and reading, obviously, directly by its objective number. And some people find out the objective number by, I think, pointing at it with the configuration cartridge, I guess, because then you see that, or by what other means, I don't know. But this means that if that device is unbuilt, I mean deconstructed, and then rebuilt, then of course it has a new ID, and then your source code is fucked. So what I would do, if I would ever deal with the absolute number, I would first obtain it in this fashionable fashion, because then, you know, you can be you're on the safe side. So what does this do? I think I explained that already in the other code, you know, other video. When I leave my station, the outer airlock door will be open, and I just use that as an indicator to turn off all station lights and to turn on the beacon, which gobbles up 300 watts, so you don't want to turn that on when you don't need it. This is our subroutine stuff, and I think everything is fine now. Okay, I move on to the next topic. I built some more turbines because now that we have 4 microchips running here, we have 200 watts of processing power being burnt all the time. I wanted to be on the safe side, and there are more things What? Right. More things running here, so I wanted to have more. So let's talk about my heating concept here. Let's demonstrate what it does. We currently have 23 degrees Celsius. Now it's cooling down quite a lot. And you would stay here. So now let's look around. You see this thing is lit up, and when you go over here, you see right down here we have 22 degrees. I guess this will drop now because I let in quite some cold. So these 2 rooms are being climatized when it comes to temperature, to heat and cold, separately. This one has already heated up again. Not bad, not bad. Huh. Oh, let's be a bit more insistent then. And this time I go over here and I use that switch. I already suggested in the forums, and actually Rocket, you know, CEO saw that and said, yeah, that's actually a nice idea, implicitly. The following, that there should be an inert mouse, you know. So if for video making in Minecraft you can push an F key, I think F6 or F7 or something, and then when you move the mouse you're going to do this, but we'll do kind of this. So instead of getting every last jitter of my hand or of the mouse driver or whatever, you would have a nice video experience. And that would be cool to make videos, and that would be in their interest, right? The more people make videos, the better the game might ultimately sell, and that's certainly in their interest. So let's cool down the room to something unreasonable.
Temperature low. Temperature critical. Temperature low.
You can see here it's 18 degrees. Okay, let's use the fine print. 18.6, 18.7, 18.8, and over here also. Here should be faster because the differential is greater, so the effect should be greater. Also, yeah, for other reasons, whatever. So what is this? This is a digital valve. Maybe you remember if you've not bad, huh? If you've seen the entire series, then there was a little digital valve up here, and an opening inside and an opening outside. I was just using it to cool down the base. Oh, what's going on here? The fire chamber. This will go up to, I think, 700 or so, and then it will turn off. Oh no, that was it, I think, already. Yeah, look down here. The arrow when it goes down. Yeah, it went dark. We have 2 things happening here. We have one controller chip that is for the mixer and also controls the chamber, but it doesn't control whether the chamber is on. But it is responsible for making sure that the chamber works. So we have this emergency venting thing here, which reacts to if the pressure gets too high. And if you remember the previous video, I don't remember which one, this was basically the way I dealt with this. Whenever the temperature got too high or the pressure got too high, the door opens and then that is solved, right? But the purpose of this chamber is to create heat, and out there we don't just have low pressure so that the problem is resolved, but we also have incredible cold, minus 160 degrees. So the purpose of this chamber to create heat would not really work. So instead of that, I'm now using an active vent back here, which turns on whenever there's too much pressure. This thing still is implemented, but it uses high enough values so that it never kicks in, except in absolute emergencies. You know, when the pressure is too high, when the temperature is too high. And I haven't seen that yet, but it has been in there for like an hour now, so I have little experience with that yet. Anyway, so there was a digital valve here which turned on and let the atmosphere through. What's happening here, we have a little pipe here that is not insulated, and then we have a pipe radiator of the convection kind here. You know, it's a kit, radiation or convection, and because we have an atmosphere here, so that's much more effective. I don't even know if the radiation kind is effective at all when there's atmosphere. So whatever's in that pipe will exchange its thermal energy quite strongly with the room that surrounds it. Same here for the cold side. So we have a pipe here, let's look at it, with 40 megapascals of pressure of pure oxygen from the outside. And the pressure is, I think, actually, I realized maybe the pressure, that thing that pressurizes that pipe, where is that? That's an active vent down there somewhere, which you can't see from here. I'm not sure. That is actually not yet controlled. I think I forgot that. So we're currently just running on the fumes that are therein. There's also an overpressure protection. That's a back pressure regulator, which has been set to 40 megapascals. And so when I pump the oxygen in and heat up the pipe, then there will be more and more pressure, but it will be released. So if I heat up the pipe more and more, then ultimately, and if it cools down, there will be less than 40 megapascals of pressure, like we have right now, because it's not yet being refilled. I don't know if I have put that in there yet. Or don't remember. Anyway, so this pipe is just pure oxygen, which is a nice medium for transporting your thermal energy, or for storing it. It's not optimal, we could use water, it would be better, but whatever, this gets the job done, so this gets the job. This is 300 degrees, but my target temperature was 290, but what does target temperature mean? Well, it means that then this thing will turn off, and it will burn for a little bit longer, so that's why it heats this pipe a little more than it needs to. So 290 was a nice choice. And if this temperature falls down to 250 Celsius, then that chamber will turn on again, and at 290 it will turn off again. I guess I will show the source code soon. So that is how this pipe is being kept at heat. You can see here the pipe is insulated everywhere like it needs to be, because we don't want to bleed that heat out there to the atmosphere, and we don't want to heat the room except when we want to. You know, when it's too cold, this thing turns on. When the temperature is less than 20, this turns on. And when the temperature is 21 or more, or is above 21, then this will turn off. So we have a range between 20 and 21 where this thing will then like drift, it will coast, which also makes sense because once this thing has been turned on, and there's some heat in here that will keep heating for a while, because the gas is hot. There's 40 megapascals of it, so that's a lot of thermal energy to be exchanged with the room. So it's all a bit blurry. We have some coasting between 20 and 24 degrees or something. It's not precise, but it gets the job done well. And here the pipe goes in here with non-insulated. It's non-insulated variant, and a few pipe radiators of the convection kind. So we take that nice heat and put it in this pipe when if need be. And this thing here is the opposite. It cools down the room with outside atmosphere, and that is just a stupid pipe cowl up there. There's not even pressure in there, it's just the outside atmosphere. And some pollution, I guess, from whatever happened out there. This actually, yeah. I realized that would need some protection maybe from freezing, but I just didn't bother. Maybe there will be a problem later, and then we will lift that and solve it. And here's the same thing again. That was already the pipe cowl from my mixer, which I just recycled to also give me some passive outside air here if need be. Now let's try the opposite side. Let's heat up the room to a too high temperature. I guess the furnace will suffice. Oh, it's not? Okay, I built for too long. Let's make it hot then, right? Did I step on the gas too much? I think we're safe, but it will be suckily loud. See how cool this thing is to operate. Get the advanced furnace as soon as possible. So we're producing heat now, and so this room is now at 25 degrees, which should be beyond the threshold, but I want to give it some thorough heating. Yeah, okay. So it's not just, so we don't just have this heat, you know, a cold corner over here, a warm corner over there. They exchange. Now I want to demonstrate that cooling effect. But this should be enough. Now the heating is obviously off, but this side is on. And it will now just cool down to planet atmosphere until I close that, and yeah. a simple, elegant solution. Or simple, yeah, well, it's relatively simple. I mean, cool, right? Now we have the atmosphere as a source for oxygen and for coolant. And we have our heating chamber as a source for for heat. We could also use it for CO2, I guess. So let's see what's in there. Carbon dioxide. Yeah, and it's hot carbon dioxide. So yeah, could use that too. And over there you can see that large hall. What is that? That is a tank like this one, but it is the large kind, which needs 5 of these in the kit in your hand so that you can build it. It's not insulated because my goal is to have a room there which will be at room temperature. And I don't know what exactly to put in there, but the idea was that one of the most central things that I have to do is I have to control the atmosphere, the temperature and all of that. And since CO2 and cold is readily available, my focus must be, and you know, see, focus, it's at the center of that room, must be heat. And I need to get volatiles, lots of them. See, this this heating scenario here will always burn some more fuel. And we are 8.31 megapascals. I think we were at 8.47 when I even started to run this whole thing. So this is very, very, very effective. So we don't have to fear that it will eventually be empty. What clicked over here? What happened? I don't know. Something. Because the station by now it has become alive. Let's check some more of the source code. So that was the power IC. Now let's look at the climate IC. Import, never confuse the two, you will be so frustrated. Well, you can just load your previous save game. Actually, let me show that. Some people might actually not know. Oh, I can't load from here. Never mind. So if you load here, then you just don't see the list of your save games. You select the one and click the green button, but you get the list over here with all the backups. And every time you save, a new one will be created, so you can go back easily.
Cinematic space. Exosphere. On Soma FM.
So I've gotten used to using the following approach. Here's my block of code. As long as I don't use subroutines, I will just use an approach like this, where I just jump from here to there, and then the block is done, and then the next block comes. And I realized this too could benefit from this register approach. Branch, if greater than temperature furnace 1 250. If the temperature of furnace 1 is greater than 250, then jump to here, which means we open that door, else close that door. Well, let's fix that then. Write into register R0 this logical outcome, and then write the logical outcome into that thing, and that's it. That was it. 4 lines deleted. Worth it. Let's verify. Write batch named into this. Open R0. R0 is when temperature furnace is greater than that. Greater than this will be 1, so open will be 1. Okay, we're safe. Same here for temperature furnace 2. Open okay, same thing. SGT R0, no more label to jump to, because we don't need that shit anymore. So this opens the furnace doors if there's too much pressure in there. Temperature in there. I didn't even actually care about pressure. But what pressure would be in there? It would be room pressure cranked up to 11 due to temperature. So let's look at temperature. Anyway, so what do we have here? Room temperature with flashing lights. Yeah, you know those ones. If it goes 30 or higher or above 30, I don't know. This one is on, otherwise that one is on. Which is Currently no longer necessary, really, but it's not a stupid thing to have, so why not leave it in? What are our plants doing? Oh, we could harvest some more seeds. One silver, one cobalt, 5 phenoxytone. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 phenoxytone. Another pill was made. And how many pills do we have? 9. Now it's 10. However deeply established one's station is, if one is serious about some kind of Iron Man approach where you will just roll with the punches, and if you die then that's the end of it, or at least, I mean, you would try to avoid reloading. One should bury somewhere or just hide away somewhere where it's far outside the station, which might explode so very much, some chests or whatever with an auto lathe and some other goodies, because bafflingly, when you're in such a situation, you will suddenly realize, oh damn, without that crap I'm fucked, I have to start over. I mean, like, the whole entire world is gone, basically. Replant, replant, replant. Source code. Yeah, that shows the temperature. And here maybe I could also use some kind of SGT approach. Let's see if that would make sense. Can we simplify that meaningfully? Because this is slightly different. Here we are saying if it's less than 20, turn the red one. Oh wait, if it's less than 20, turn the blue one on and the red one off. If it's more than 30, turn the red one on and the blue one off. In all other cases, turn both off. Do we have enough space down here? I think so. So let's do that again. Let's do that again. Let's read that better. So obviously, I mean, what I'm going for is I'm trying to write into these two thingies, not an absolute value, but one that I will create on the fly. Then I prepare those values, move R1, you know, copy into register R1 the value 0, copy into register R1, R0 the value 0, R1 the value 0. So now that will just be turned off. And now I turn on, if need be, this one or that one, and that should be much shorter code. Let's see. Should be enough space still. Yeah, that we can compare that actually. Yeah, now we could do branching again to write something into the register, but nah, we have learned we can do this. Write into register R0 if the room temperature is less than 20. Now, is that easy? Is that clean? It is. Let's see if that would work. No, let's first count the lines for funsies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's less than half. If less than half doesn't tickle your fancy, then you're not a programmer. Anyway, move to R0, 0, move to R1, 0. So both will be turned off, except if temperature in room 1 is less than 20, then this will produce a 1, and we'll put that into register R0. And this will then show less than 20, that's cold. This one, the cold one, will turn on. I'm not talking about vampires. So, by the way, I'm a Twilight fan, so fuck you. So now let's go here. If the temperature is greater than 30, then write that truth value R1 into register R1. So only in that case then, the hot light will get a 1 here, and so it will be on. Yeah, I mean, even deleting those lines is tedious, not just writing them. Yeah, maybe it is a bit off topic, but let's talk a few seconds, really I will make this short, about Twilight, which I didn't witness that phenomenon, just like I didn't quite witness the phenomenon of smartphones. I mean, I saw smartphones emerging in the world, but I bought mine like 3 years ago. Before that, I didn't have one, even though I spent basically every free hour that I have in front of the computer. Wicked, huh? Yeah, well, I'm wicked. And the phenomenon of Twilight I also didn't witness when it took place, so I only saw that once the film actually came out on Netflix, and then oh, actually before that, I think a bit before that, by some other means. Yeah, that happened. And of course I heard it mentioned a few times and I watched it, and even though it definitely has quite some cringe, specifically also, I always say specifically, especially also the later episodes, I ultimately find there so much gold to be found, and so much depth and a beautiful emotion and so forth, and a story that I really like, that yeah, I watched that shit, you know. Watched the entire series like 4 or 5 times by now, and also have the audiobooks and listened to all of them, including what's the word, Midnight Sun, read by Jake Abel. Awesome. I can only say that's, if you have listened to those books but not that one, get it, because it's really, really good. I mean, that one is really well written. Imagine all those stuff written from one perspective and then from the other. You might think that's trivial. It's not, I tell you. I've listened to that quite a few times, and I see how deep and complex that is. Kudos to that writing, really. Now, back to topic. So, room temperature, now we have the heating. Room 1 heating, yeah, that's the heating. Okay, what happens here? Here I'm using relative branching, which I already showed. Instead of branching to a certain label, I'm inserting a little R here. So instead of having a label here, I'm writing an R here and a 2, which branches over this line, and it does so when the room temperature is greater than or equal to 20 degrees. Then it jumps over this line, else it will turn this thing on. And here we do the opposite, 21 degrees. If it's higher than 21 degrees, then it will turn that thing off. So we are accessing the same thing here, and we're using 4 lines to have a nice temperature range where nothing will happen between 20 and 21. So there will not be, I mean, in another situation, if you're controlling an active vent, for example, it might do a click lock, click lock, click lock all the time. But if you have some leniency range like this, for example, then that will not be the case. And of course, you can use values like this. I mean, no one says you have to use integer numbers all the time. Same for this one. And diva is digital valve. Okay, then we have the cooling, works in exactly the same fashion, and boring. Simple, huh? This prepares the device. So what I was saying is, what I've gotten accustomed to is start marker, yield, and then first I prepare the devices, for example, locking this one and then turning it on, because I want the pipe analyzer to always deliver its value properly. I mean, what if I reacted down here to a value that isn't even real because some idiot turned that thing off for a second? Even if I force this thing on, the lock is advisable here. Otherwise, for example, for an active vent, I would not advise to use a lock, because then in case of emergency, if you just turn off your chip, that will not be like removing your airlock board from the console, like suddenly that device is unlocked again or something, but it will stay locked because that's the value that you gave it. Just like when you give that device or a crusher a different value, crusher, for example, different temperature heating up target value, which is currently 15 degrees. Many people are annoyed by that. Oh, so much electricity wasted and so forth, blah, blah, blah. You can just set a value, and that value will stick, even if the logic writer that created that is no longer there. And so then you don't want to lock your active vents when you have some programming running on them. Normally not, no. But the pipe analyzer, yeah, I think that makes sense. Except if you are really hard on turning off the energy that will be used here. And then I'm taking this active vent mode 1 so that it sucks in. But it's not yet sucking because it's not yet turned on. So first I prepare the devices, and then I read the sensors. Makes sense to have it in this order, because what good is reading a sensor when it's not yet on? Reading all the sensors, what do we have here? We have the heat in the heating system. We have the... yeah, right. And then turn that to Celsius. Then we get the temperature of the furnace rooms and of room 1 and room 2, turn that to Celsius. That's all that's happening here. We have with the emergency venting and so forth. So then what else do we have? The fuel mixer. What did I do there? Nothing much. Import. Pause! Okay, all this stuff. Yield, prepare devices. Yeah, I have had a little problem. I don't know what happened today. I was programming here and I was looking over and the igniter wasn't running. And then I went over and I clicked it with my mouse and then immediately it flashed and then the air was on fire and I think it kept flashing like the source code was telling it to do. And then later I changed the chips in the source code again. I mean, you know, I was changing things around. Before we had like 2 chips, now we have 4. And source code has been extended, and I was looking over there and it was not going again. So I don't know what's happening there. My assumption is that when you turn it on again and again and again, then it might be in the process of turning on. You know, you give it the on command, so it will do that, which means that it will flash, and then when it's done with that, it will like turn off again. But maybe when I was turning it on and then like the chip was ripped out underneath from the ass of the igniter, maybe it was kind of stuck in this turning on situation, or I don't know what it could have been. But you know, for safety purposes, I'll just say turn it off, yield, turn it on, else the turn off command might not take hold. And I don't know if that helps. It's just hopefully it will solve the problem. So then we set the active vents to suck. For example, the one in the melting room, which shall suck from the melting room. The suck into the melting room. And the one that sucks from the melting room. No, wrong. Okay, this one sucks from the melting room into the tank. This one sucks from the outside air. See, my names are stupid here. Into the mix. And this one sucks from the fire chamber. This is the pipe analyzer of the mixer, and this is the pipe analyzer of the fire chamber. Then afterwards we read the sensors, the pressure of the melting room and the ratio O2, to which we then add the ratio of the liquid O2, quite important sometimes. Then the pressure of the fire chamber, the temperature of the fire chamber, and of course once again the obligatory change to Celsius, which many of the stationeers will actually not do. They will proudly use the Kelvin scale, which they then have learned and more deeply ingrained, and why not, you know. But I like Celsius, so I use it. That's all there is to it. And yes, I'm more used to it, okay. So the prepare boiler pump speed. Like I said, the boiler pump, which pumps the fuel into the always igniting boiler room, has 2 chips interacting with it. This one sets whether the pump is at 0.1, that's the lowest possible setting, at least that I know of. I mean, I don't know if that is actually meaningful. Between 1 and 0. So if the temperature is greater than 4, oh wait a minute, yeah, right, here I cannot use SGT or something, because the value that I'm writing is not just a logical 1 or 0, I'm writing 0 and 0.1. Of course I could use some trick here and multiply, but then things get too iffy, really, seriously. Why should I enter those murky waters, even if those work in a kind of, I am a cool hacker, whatever. No, my code is supposed to work reliably and be readable and be easy to make. That is the purpose, and therefore that's the way I do it. At least I think so. So greater than, if the temperature fire is greater than 400, no more please, then it sets that to 0. If not, then it will fall through. That's what you say that in what you call it in programming. You fall through through that barrier here, and it will write the value 0.1, and then it will skip over this. Here I could basically use a relative jump command, which then jumps over this and this to here, but I already have to use labels, so that's the established paradigm here. And also, if I ever press this to show you some stuff and later forget to delete that line, then the source code will be fucked. It will not work any longer. And what I'm doing here is I'm pumping fire into a chamber to light up, to heat my station. I'm having emergency doors opening and closing, all of that. Dude, that shit needs to work. This is astronaut shit. So that is what that does. Yeah, and the pump is being turned on and off as needed by the climate control. Did I actually show that? I think not. I don't have to. If the climate control falls to below 250, then it will turn on. If it reaches 290, it will turn off. And even if it's turned on, it will not take hold if this one has this override effect of having this at 0. The arrow will still be green, but it will not be lit as much, I think, and the pump sound will not be playing. Boiler room emergency venting. That is really the emergency venting. Fire over 500 degrees Celsius, not Kelvin. Actually, in Kelvin you don't say degrees, only Celsius. You say degrees, or Fahrenheit you say degrees. And if the pressure is over 250, because the pressure differential with these walls can only be 200, outside is like 40 to 50 kilopascals, so this is already calling it very close, you know, but the walls don't immediately explode, they just take damage. This is just an emergency measure. So since I have two values here, I'm not using the SGT approach, because if so, then I guess I would have to OR them together or to AND them together. I didn't actually think about that, because there would be then another line and blah blah blah, and so this way I can't do it wrong, you know. If the temperature is too high, turn that thing on. If the pressure is too high, turn that thing on. Let's turn that thing off and be done with it. Also, maybe interesting, maybe it makes sense that I have it in this order. I could also have used the opposite comparison up here, you know, like less than, and then turn that thing off, you know, and then the fall through would be to turn the thing on. But what fall through means in my mind is default. So let's say I forget this statement here. Then the worst thing that happens is that that room will always be open. But if I had everything inverted, then the room would possibly destroy the entire station or whatever. Boiler room, standard venting. See, that's the standard venting. Here I use the register approach. If the pressure of the fire chamber is greater than 150, then we have the truth value 1 in here, as it would be 0, and so the vent will be pumping yes instead of no. Move some volatile gas to tank, that is from the melting chamber, which also always needs to have some pure volatile atmosphere, because I'm pumping from that chamber into my mixer tank, and I don't want any other crap in there, but I need some crap in there, because else I cannot melt my my volatiles that are tossed in there, you know. And I know it's ridiculous, I could just use a crusher, but I wanted to do it this way to experiment, and later I will keep doing like this. I have already thought of some kind of interesting kind of perpetual machine logic, which will not violate the energy law. It's not like some hacks that can be done in this game where you wire things up in a certain way that will keep producing energy out of nothing. I haven't done that yet, and I don't intend to, because I hope they remove that crap, and I don't want to celebrate the bugs. I want to work around them or ignore them, and I definitely want to work with a solid reality. That's also why I never play creative. I don't even want to feel that, you know. Yeah, melting chamber, and the perpetual idea would then be once we have our room temperature fuel mixture, which will be made by the room temperature volatiles gargantuan tank over there in that large hall, then we'll just pipe some of those volatiles, actually not the mixer, what am I saying? I will pipe from the volatiles, from the large volatiles tank into the melting room, and that will then melt the volatiles in there. Of course, you have to be careful, as we have already seen in one of the previous videos. If you toss in more than one stack into such a small chamber, then even if there's an active vent running, the pressure can quickly rise over the threshold. 2 stacks is already too much, but it will not be dangerous. But more than 2, then the pressure can reach over 200 kilopascals pressure differential versus the surrounding atmosphere, and then the walls take damage. We don't want that. Of course, I don't need a pressure chamber made of glass, but it's more fun this way. That's why it's made of glass. So then that moves some of the volatiles, but not all of it, over to that mixture situation, over to that mix tank. And then we also need some O2 so that the mixture is upheld. And here I'm just saying, as if the pressure of the ratio of O2, including of gas and liquid, is less than this, you know, it needs to be 1/3 of the 3/3. 2/3 need to be volatilized, 1/3 need to be oxygen. If it is this, then add oxygen now. And I realize this actually lends itself once again to simplification. So write into register R0 if we want to do something like this, then that, I guess. Yeah, this SGT command is still relatively new to me. Not as new as the subroutine, and definitely not as new as the stack, which I've never used, but yeah. So if the O2 ratio is less than that, this will result in 1, and therefore we want to turn on the vent which pumps pure, I mean hopefully, pure Europa atmosphere into our tank. And yeah, that's a new thing. Since I now have my station depending on this fuel, there will be a warning. Let's see what that looks like. I am confused. I guess I just made a mistake. Let's listen. Also not. Anyway, that's what that would look like. So 8 megapascals. The values of pressure in this game are in the program are always kilopascals, so 1/1000 of that. So why is this not happening? Why is this not turning on? I don't know. Let's debug. Write to housing what the mixture pressure is, in case that's the mistake. Export crowbar, and here I gave the chips nice colors. The green for like climate, you know, it's the association, and then here the red one for that red stuff. And the housing is saying the same as this thing, so there must be some stupid programming error, or maybe I cut some cable. One thing that might have happened actually is, no, I cut some cable. What am I saying? It's working. It's also being overridden by logic. So what's going on? Debugging. I am confused. So now we know that the value is alright. Stupid me. There was no bug at all. I was just thinking too fast. So I wanna check if that works. I have to do this, of course. Now it's less than 9,000, therefore alarm. I mean, all this blinking, I might actually miss it still, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, and this is a thing, right? I mean, we have some things which are important to us, which are supposed to be shown as a level, for example. And I just want to, and therefore it will happen, program something in MIPS. We will show some ratio, for example, the tank value, or for example, our station batteries. Let's go for station batteries, since we have 4 of those now. What we also need to do at some point, 200 watts, no 200 watts. What we also have to do at some point, we have to get the advanced alloys to do all the beautiful things, because they have something new in the game. They have put something new again I talked to you about these sensor lenses, right? Where you can put in the chip for. Let's show you that. Sense lens. So these are the sensor lenses, quite expensive to make. It needs some steel, yeah, who cares? Some silicon, who gives a fuck? And Inconel, which is an advanced alloy. And for that we need. Oh, should we make that now? Should we actually make that now? I have gold, I have steel, I have nickel. Let's make that fucking Inconel now. I know what I'm currently doing is what I talked about, like, let's see. About 40 minutes ago, I guess, which is the concept of stacks. I'm currently stacking things upon things upon things, and you're thinking that I'm changing topic, but the truth is, I'm going fractal, you know? I'm going fractally into that topic, and then I'm going out again and return to where I was, because I never left it. I just went into the details of it. Admittedly, that not always works out, and maybe I'm fancifying it currently a bit more than it deserves, but just imagine it's true, so that you think Hey, that's possible. That's a good idea. I want to do that too. See, that's good. Inconel. Item Inconel ingot. What does it need? It needs gold, gold, steel, nickel. That's a good way to remember that in your head. Gold, gold, steel, nickel. Gold, gold, steel, nickel. Do we have that? We have nickel. Because, you know, I went quite mining a lot between videos, so, and also made actually 10 consoles, you know, for doing stuff. So that's not so boring to you. You know, all the standard stuff, you know, how to make something in this thingy here. Only now it's more entertaining, isn't it? Don't you want to do that too? Yes, yes, you do. You do. If you don't, now you do. Okay. Where did I want to go? Inconel. Gold, gold, steel, nickel. Gold, gold, steel, nickel. How much steel do we have? We have enough nickel. We have enough gold. Steel, I believe I do also have enough. That's... button's a bit off. So that is 100. No, that's 30. 100. Let's put that away. It's ridiculous. Oh, that's iron. Wait, am I mistaken? 100 steel. 200 steel. 300 steel. 400 steel. 500 steel. That's enough. Okay, gold, gold, steel, nickel. That would mean 100 of this. We use the advanced one. Gold, gold, steel, nickel, which means we need 400 gold for that, which we have. Should I actually make that much? Can we actually see what Inconel is used for? I don't think so. Used in Ultralight, yeah, great. Of course, used in there, but for what? I think we're overdoing it. Shouldn't be that much. So let's oh, that's possible. Let's cut this one in half. Go to our nice free-for-all stacker.
Waste tank caution.
Use our nice free-for-all labeler. And it will spit out all of them if there's no remainder. Gold, gold, steel, nickel. So, gold. 50-50 basically.
Power critical.
Gold, gold, steel, nickel. Yeah, I want to make a door here, and I want to make one on that side, whatever. We'll see eventually. Not sure yet exactly how we'll proceed. But it doesn't matter. This is a game in which I can spend all my free time. You don't have a girlfriend? Well, currently I don't have time for that shit, so... Too busy. Too busy having fun. Gold, steel, gold, gold, steel, nickel. The temperature, as we can see, is kind of irrelevant, you know, when the range goes to 100,000 kelvins, and this we easily reach. That's 300 something degrees Celsius. Let's see, 600 minus 270 something, it's 330 or so. Then the pressure, 20 oh, the pressure needs to be special. But we can just twiddle the knob and then it will fit. And we're actually almost there. So let's put that thing in and have fun. Gold, gold, steel, nickel. Is that 50? Yes it is, and we can actually see that before putting it in, here in the tooltip. We have the glasses very soon. The chips that you also need for that thing are very easy to make, relatively. Gold, gold. Nickel, steel. 23.5 to 24. We have too much pressure in here. Let's turn these to 0, turn this on, and watch. I could turn it faster, but let's not be impatient. 23.4 to 24. Now we'll use the modifier key R in this case. I don't know what yours is. Yeah, that's good. I think we will now get what we want. And there is Inconel. Yeah, baby. Thank you. Another tip, you want to use... Okay, you want to use what you want to use, I don't know, but I think it's ridiculous not to do it. So what you want to use is, instead of J for jetpack, which you need the jetpack all the time, you want to use Shift. Because there's no running in this game, except you're running all the time. Where do you make these sensor lenses? The tool manufactory Tier 2 with 5 Inconel, which, how many do we have? We have 50. That's interesting. Actually, have you ever noticed? Now we put in this thing gold, gold, steel, nickel. 50, 50, 50, 50. That's 200. But we only get 50. However, when we make steel, we put in there, like for example, iron, 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 coal. That's 200. And what we get out of there is also 200 steel. I don't know what the rule is, if it's an arbitrary definition, or if it maybe applies to all the advanced alloys that you automatically get exactly the minimum or whatever. I don't know how that works. So tool manufacturing, okay. And we need steel and silicon. Is there steel in there already? Steel. Dude. Silicon. Do I have some extra silicon lying around? Not currently, but we can smelt some. And that is fast enough. Because we only need 5 of them. Lenses!
Critical.
Sensor lenses. Yeah, let's fart again. Oh, right. And in between I also pumped a lot more CO2 into the atmosphere. By using our nice underground furnace pipeline. And since I'm now only using the advanced furnace, underground here there's a pipeline that connects the two. So if I heat up that furnace enough, I think that one starts to glow, because that glow expresses, I think, pressure, whatever. And yeah. Anyway, so I used that. Can use both. Thank you, that should be enough. And let's make those. Yeah. And they eat quite a lot of electricity, so you want a large battery for that, if not even a nuclear battery, which gets us to the next topic. Nuke that. Can we make that thing? It takes Inconel. We have Inconel. Hello, baby. And then we also need Astroloy. How is that then made? Copper, steel, cobalt. We have some cobalt, I think. How much do we have? Yeah, we have enough cobalt. Copper, steel, cobalt. Copper, steel, cobalt. In other words, we need copper, steel, steel, cobalt. Copper, steel, steel, cobalt. Let's prepare that, so I think of that later. Yeah, I combined all my copper ingots which were piling around here, because Europa has ridiculous much copper. So what is that again? Copper, steel, steel, cobalt. Let's say we take 50 of these, which is convenient. Kind of. So, copper, steel, steel, cobalt. Copper. 100. Steel, steel. And cobalt for Astroloy. progress bar from the right. What does it take to make that stuff? 30 to 40 megapascals, we are still kind of there, and who gives a fuck temperature? I like that. Let's do that. Let's do that right away. Haha. Save? Maybe you should drink something. I mean, the hunger and thirst is quite... Oh, look at that. I changed this too. I just thought, you know, why the fuck leave that thing in there and constantly have some slight pollution because I was spray painting some cable and then this thing was flashing and then I have to turn this on again. Yeah, what I need is some proper base draft from room A to room B and then some filtration down there in room B to which the entire air is going. But I would rather work on some kind of central air concept, which I've never done so far. So, yeah, interesting. Helmet is closed. Why didn't no one tell me? In the chat. You could do that in the chat. Oh, it's not live. Yeah, and I thought, why do that? I would just dismantle this guy and turn this one into a large one. You know, there was a little ball down here, but now I'm using the big one, which also looks more cool. Oh, this is your water storage. It looks like a water storage, feels like a water storage, so that's a good water storage. How much is in there? 290 liter capacity. I've set 74 liters, but don't worry, I went mining. So, now eat something while we're at it. Munch, 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 munch. Insufficient. Need to stuff self to the brim. Brim habe ich gesagt. Yeah, we wanted to do this stuff. Yeah. No, not that button, but the other one, which is F5. So is there anything in there? No. Okay, so we can't have centrifuge need. Again, the mixture is copper, steel, steel, cobalt. Let's start with the steel, steel. And then 50-50. Yep. Alright, the pressure is not yet. We need like 40 megapascals or more. Oh, 30 to 40. Well, then that's not even the highest one. I think one of these takes 50. This is off. This is off. Well, it's on, baby. I am doing it wrong. Is the temperature not high enough? Oh, 1000, okay. Should still be burning, so no need to click here. And very soon we should then see a message here. Or listen to a message instead, whatever. Be doing something wrong. Copper, steel, cobalt. Copper, steel, cobalt. 30 to 40. Oh, maybe the pressure is too high. Yeah, of course, the pressure is at 55. Astroloy was made. Where does my waste go, by the way? It goes in here and into all these cables, into all these pipes. So I am actually not yet doing anything with that. I could flip on this thing, there's no automatism, nothing, so it's a bit iffy, you know, to do like that. Signal. Yeah, and that's why I slapped these things on. I mean, they're really nice, right? That's a nice hands-on experience of what you're doing. I flip this thing on and the needle goes down or goes high, or I plop in the bottle and the needle goes at, you know, the gauge. That's nice. I want that. There should be more of that stuff in there. You know what? What they don't have in the game yet, I keep saying it, these sensor lenses, which we'll soon use very soon, there should also be a chip that shows you the temperature. So you can see how hot things are, like in Splinter Cell. Or maybe the electrification too. That would be really fucking awesome. That's how awesome it would be. Was that going down? Well, it's not going up for sure. So we're done here. Oh, right. Maybe we should take that with. What was I trying to produce? I was trying to produce nuclear batteries. So let's make those. How much of this stuff do I have now? 50, huh? Motherfucker. They are probably made using... See, you can see still there's screen distortions here in the middle from the extreme heat. I don't know why that is. Maybe it is because this shader, you know, that's what they talk about in graphics programming these days, or these years, when they do these screen distortions, which can be very quickly done and relatively easy to implement, then maybe they're just... I mean, the logic that does that maybe gets this information, hey, it's very hot, so fade that shit in and waft it around, and then it will slowly adapt back to the lower temperature. Maybe that's how this works. Or maybe they're actually measuring my spacesuit temperature, but I think that no object in this game has temperature. Only gases. Which, if you think about it, is a bit pretty baffling. What, you did never realize that? Yeah, you could have saved a few of that. Steel. So how many nuclear batteries could we then make? Takes 5 steel, 5 Inconel. Let's make 2. And that will take a while. And charging them will take another while. So, let's play a little bit Howard Stark, shall we? These are the sensor lenses. And currently, they're off. And if I turn them on, nothing happens. For they lack power, and they lack a meaning. For now, let's plop in... Oh, right, I moved that over here. The battery. Nothing happens. Because for those lenses, we need a chip. And that's the thing I wanted to say earlier. We don't just have this one, which lets us look through the soil and see the ore. We have the new one, meson scanner, which is, I believe, referring to, or maybe that's just the people in the forums, I'm not sure, Hardspace Shipbreaker. If you haven't yet played Hardspace Shipbreaker, you should continue watching this video to its end, upvote, subscribe, whatever, and you should, the first time ever that I say that stupid shit, and you should definitely get that game on Steam. Get it, do it, and do it, because that is a super awesome game. There are some things about it that are sucky or annoying, or maybe you can go with it, that's okay then, but the game itself is really, really great, because what you're doing is, you kind of, in this situation that I'm in here, except there's 0 gravity. I'm basically orbiting the moon. I can see the Earth up there in the sky, and there's a large structure around me which I cannot enter or something. It's just the bay in which I'm working, and what's around me is kind of this stuff when I'm inside a ship. Otherwise I see the ship from the outside, like I would see my station from the outside, and it's levitating there. But that thing can be entirely moved, even though it's super inert, and you cut it apart, and there are parts in it like this, except less complex. There's also electricity that you consider. There's a reactor that you have dismantled carefully. Not very sophisticated, but overall it's a really great game experience, and you can easily waste 100 or more hours in that game if you play it a few times. I mean, that's I mean, absolutely. And also, if you're into audiobooks, like I am, then that lends itself incredibly to that. And I must say, I haven't yet played Stationeers with audiobooks. I will certainly do that at some point, but probably not on video, because then I'd have to mute that. So how many batteries do we have by now? None. Oh, that's many batteries. So where was I? Hardspace Shipbreaker. Like in Hardspace Shipbreaker, take part. What was I saying? Yeah, like in Hardspace Shipbreaker, you can then see through the things, and you can see cabling and electricity and such. You can see your pipes and in color. I guess the color that you spray painted them in, but I don't know. I have zero experience with that. Oh, interesting. It just spits that out because that's not a stackable item. So that's what the battery nuclear looks like. And we only want two.
Caution.
Only want two of these. Why am I still on the helmet? How much charge does this hold? Let's start with the small ones. The small battery holds 3,600 watts, I mean joules, I guess, and then that would be like half of that, but who gives a fuck? Okay, let's roll with it. It holds 36,000 watts. 36,000. Okay, it holds 36 power. 36 power. Now the large one that we always use now can hold 288, which is almost 10 times that. Then we have the wireless battery, which I should use at some point, and I always use these ones because they are not like the big batteries here. They are more like these small ones. How much do they hold? They don't say that? Fuck! Okay, that sucks then. And these, they hold a lot less. And then we have the nuclear battery, which holds, let's again look, simple one, 36, large one, almost 10 times that, or 8 times that, and the nuclear one, 2,300, so that's like 100, like 80 times that, maybe 80 times a small battery, or about 8 times, I'm not sure, something like that. I'm not good at this. Yeah. Respectively, it would take some time to charge that guy. And that's what it looks like. You can easily distinguish, not just like this, but because of this big horizontal I'm important bar. Not like this lid thing that you can grab, and not like the small ones which have these indents and look kind of fiddly, but that's the big boy. And if I charge like 4 or 5 or 6 of these in parallel, I guess I would have a problem, because guess where the energy is coming from? Okay, the sensor lenses then. Let's make the 2 glass thingies, the 2 chips, all of them. All 2 of them. Isn't that a cool browser that put into this game? Custom programmed, not like, hey, let's use chromatic, or whatever the fuck all those Chrome engines are called. But instead, roll your own. And I realized it doesn't work. So, lens. This one takes iron, gold, copper, silicon. And this one takes the same. So let's make both. What is it called? Sensor plus the... Okay, let's look for sensor then. Iron, gold, copper, silicon. In what? 2 manufacturing. Iron, gold, copper, silicon. Iron. No more iron, please. And I don't have any iron, but of course in some of the machines. 1942, my number, and 23. And yeah, the last one, often forgotten, not in our case. Iron, silicon, more silicon then. Ah. Anything left? Nope. How far are we by now? 4%. Oh, but we can't notice it yet, so we have good output here. Actually, you can see here the actual value delivered, 2.5 kilowatts right now from all those nice wind turbines, of which I built a few more. And required 399, and that number is decreasing. What does that mean? It means that the amount of energy that could still be put into these batteries until they are full is decreasing. So even though we are currently charging 2 of these batteries, yeah, everything's fine, I would say. Again, iron, gold, copper, silicon. Iron, copper, silicon, and gold. Sensor. Behold. Welcome to the Matrix. What is that? That is something we desperately need, is O2. No, it's not, we don't need that at all. We just breathe in when we're outside. Plus a radiator in our throat. What's that? Ferrum? Ferrum is Latin. Ferrum is the Latin word for iron. And aurum is the Latin word for aurum, means gold. And that stuff is O2, yep. Nitrogen into... So this battery, which was once full, is already at 97%. 96%. See that thing? Oh, I think we need not that many sensor chips. Good thing we can recycle them. Bad thing we cannot, because I dismantled the... Wait, let's turn that off. The recycle stuff here. For the door. So that's a bit sucky, but not tragic. So we can recycle 100% of those resources. Actually, no, that's not true. Since these, we have to pipe them through the shredder, through the recycler, I think we get exactly 50%. Yeah, that worked well. Does this actually work? Can you put them like this and then toss them over? Like dominoes? Ah man, come on. Work already.
Power low.
No, it doesn't. I mean, maybe it does, but there's no way for me to redo that. That's why I like I'd like there to be a blowing device in the game. For example, when you toss something on a cable and you click there and you can't pick it up, that sometimes happens. Just blow there and it flies to a different place. I've had that actually in my Venus playthrough, where I had to cheat because it's goddamn fucking hard, even on easy mode. My god. It was near the airlock, and so I just opened the airlock, not completely, but you know, I cycled it, and then the air was blowing strongly enough, and then I could get that thing. So what does the meson scanner look like then? Aha, we see the spray painted color, we see the cables, and the pipes. And they said that this will still be more optimized performance-wise and such. I think I read that today or yesterday in the forum. Yeah. Here you can see, yes, indeed connected. And there I was too lazy to spray paint that, I guess. All your sins revealed. Yeah, it's always good to work on both fronts. So let's turn that off. and replace that with the sensor lenses, which are more useful to us now in practice. I realize a second rack would make sense here. I can't do that now, so we can keep the lenses on. How far are we here? Oh, 17% already. My god, how fast. I mean, it's megawatts, right? This thing will last us for a while. Will we actually skip the entire wireless battery stage completely? I think we should exactly do that now. Exactly now. We will switch to wireless batteries all around, so that you see that, and also because look over there, there's a bird. So let's make some wireless batteries. Wireless! What does it take? What? Oh. Oh no, I was gonna... It takes all of these now. It takes these. Gold, copper, steel. How much gold do I have? Enough, I think. Smelt some more. Oh, same thing. Yeah. So now that thing needs to be charged, and you can do that here, if you wish. But you could also do that differently, and that's the purpose of these things. You go to the, I think, electronics printer, and you build the Omni Transmitter. Omni Transmitter. Omni, why? Because it's omnidirectional. That's what it means, you know. And also when you're using MIDI, or is it spelled MIDI or something? I mean, in Germany we say MIDI, MIDI instruments, which I've used plenty. Then there's an Omni mode, and Omni means all are being addressed instead of just your target device. And Omni here means omnidirectional. Why? Because there's also a transmitter that transmits only in one specific direction, and there's a specific receiver for that. So you can transmit power from this station to one that is over yonder, and I haven't yet used that, and I don't know how the attenuation is, you know, how the drop-off, and how hard it is to orient them, but I heard it's not easy. And what did I just make? That, the Omni Transmitter. Now let's make another wireless battery. Big. And put that into our tools. And one I should always keep on me. Blah. Okay, let's start. We will now replace this, will be closed. No, let's keep that open. I need to replace that with nuclear. Blah. Nothing's happening over yonder. I need to put this thing on. Where will I... Okay, that's the thing. When I'm at my station, I will be charged. When I'm here, or when I'm here, or when I'm here. But the further away I am from the Omni Transmitter, the harder it will be. I think currently the station's already too big to reasonably put that thing in the center and then be charged properly in all directions. I mean, for example, let's say I put that thing here. Then I will still be charged, less so, and still here probably, but very weakly. That's kind of how you think about that thing. And so I want to use two of these. That's also one of the reasons why I stocked up so much on... Oh, look at that, nuclear batteries. And weak wind. On wind turbines. So that we can do that. I will be working out there much, so I think it makes sense to put one over here. Is there some cable here that I can use easily? Without that looking ridiculous, I mean. Oh, the cable is not black. I see a red cable and I want it painted black. Well, and the last video ended with me trying to show you trading, but it was just too late, and so I couldn't do that now. And then between buildings attempts here, I just thought, you know, let's try the trading thing, and then, you know, I got a trader to come down, and so since that's now functional, I will hopefully remember showing you that later, how that's done. Cable. And now look at this. It's charging. Okay. Okay, let's show you something else. What? Dude, what just fucking happened? I explicitly used the fucking fuse here so that what just happened wouldn't happen. Because now we can be glad that we have the meson scanner, because one of the many cables on this network now burst because there was too much electricity load. I wasn't aware that the wireless loader was the Omni Transmitter was using that much electricity. Oh my god, we have enough. All of them just... Oh, that's what happened. Right. Yeah, that's what happens. The Omni Transmitter will transmit to all batteries in parallel, and since we have so many of them now and they're all empty, that was just too much load. So that easily, you know, Omni. There's an image missing, I think.
Enter communications mode.
Yes, Eliza. What? Oh, that.
Transmissions from Sinfera.
Maybe don't do that when you have a cold or something. Okay. Base power uses 10 watts, but that's not what we just experienced. So somewhere here a cable burst, and I don't understand that, because the fuse's purpose is explicitly to die instead of a cable, you know. But maybe I'm misunderstanding the concept of the fuses. Maybe it has to be on a cable that is exactly between. See, the thing is, this game doesn't simulate the energy load realistically. It's just saying there's this wire network and it had too much load, so one random cable will now burn out. And or something like that. It will at least not be that cable decidedly specifically between where you were and where the electricity is coming from. At least that would be a new development then. So, yeah, and now I could turn that thing on again. The question is what happens then. Probably another cable will burn out. I'm not sure. But it still has power. That's confusing. Why is that happening? I don't understand. Anyway, let's use the scanner and see where that cable died. Because that's the sound of a cable bursting. Should have been the fuse, but wasn't. I think I have 4 fuses. I made 2 extra. Where might they be? Where might they be? I'm so convinced I made 4. There, that big one. Yeah, I expected something smaller, you know, relative and such. So, kit fuses. When you put that down, then it will complain there's no cable. Can we do have a cable? Yes, we do. And now you can use a mouse wheel. 1 kilowatt, 5 kilowatts, 50 kilowatts, and 100. The big ones, the big cables can survive 100, so that's why I use the big one here. And here I use the 5 kilowatt, that's the yellow one. And so why did it not, like, burst? What happened? No idea. Maybe we just discovered a bug. That is possible. I mean, the fuse's purpose is just that, you know. Fuse, 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 fuse. Yes, rockets, I know. Fuse. Oh, it doesn't say? Ah. Okay, where's the sensor? God damn it. Oh, right. Still charging. And what's going on over here? I mean, we're using 3000 watts? Yeah, that's the Omni Transmitter. And if you use a second one... Actually, that's interesting. Let's turn the thing on. What happens if you turn on a second one? And both of them charge the battery simultaneously. Hypothetically, that should not lead to measurably larger load. Are they charged? No, they're not charged at all. But this one charged when we turned that thing on again. What's happening? Oh, yeah, right, it's at 24%. I thought I would say that when we just look at it. Yeah, by the way, something hilarious. If you put this in the locker and the Omni thing is on, the battery will not charge. But when you see here, I hover, I see the percentage. When I toss it to the ground, I do not see the percentage. But if you toss it to the ground, it will charge. So the battery on the ground charges, but you can't see how full it is. This one you see how full it is, but it doesn't charge. Hilarious. Tricky. Let's make another Omni Transmitter. And where will we put that? This one is there, so the other one should be kind of opposite. Let's put it here in this corner. That's a good place here. If I find my crowbar, that is. Which would be here. Yeah. See, that's why I have to clean up between videos. Because it always becomes disorderly, chaotic. Ah, yes. No. Yeah. The transmitter, maybe? This thing with the stackers doing this automatically, I'm doing this for the first time. So, not like, behold, for I achieved, but more like, this apparently is a bit more advanced stuff. I mean, you easily fall into some kind of routine, first this, then that, and then so forth. And never got to the rockets. I've played this game for 700 hours and never even started with the rockets. There's so much ahead of us still. I don't have any better idea now. Just black. Whatever. Okay, currently the cable load is 1.57 kilowatts, wherever that is coming from. Where might that be coming from? We could use the cable network analyzer to find out. I want to know. Therefore I do that. Network analyzer. Now we point it to any cable on the network and then we see the entire network. Oh, yeah, the stacker is on. Which stacker is on? That one, 50 watts. See, that's why an electricity view would also be nice, right? Right, 600 watts more. Oh, maybe that's why we had this cable burnout. The lights were maybe on at that time. I don't know. Anyway, so let's see what's going on. Scroll until we see what's. IC power, of course. Arc furnace is always on. IC Wiener. Wait, that is 50 watts, that's the lights. Logic writer switch. Right, that's for the manual active vent that's on the outside, which I can reach otherwise. Oh, the battery cell charger is currently at 1 kilowatt. Now that's a big one. The 2 nuclear batteries really kick the station in the balls. Let's see what happens if I take one of these out. $500 watts. Aha, so that kind of limits. I guess it limits the max charge they will supply to one battery to 500 watts. The thing itself takes 10 watts, the small one takes 5 watts, so that makes sense. So that's where our 1700 watts are going, but let's keep scrolling while we're at it. The fuel mix analyzer is on, takes 5 watts, irrelevant. Console, 50 watts, that might be the airlock. Back pressure regulator, 100 watts. Okay, that thing is always on and it sees to that our Heat pipe is not overpressuring, even though there's not yet a way to automatically pressurize it. That was stupid, I haven't done that yet. But everything is prepared. It's named, the automatism is there, the overpressure is there. The vent door of the furnace takes some electricity. And that's it, yeah. That's what happens then. I mean, basically, one should see to that one uses multiple cable networks and or should switch to the heavy cables as soon as possible. It's interesting how long we coped without actually using those. Now, back to the experiment. The idea was turn on both Omni Transmitters at the same time, which by now might not be a good idea, but whatever, let's see what happens. Hey, wait, have I cabled that up properly? I have not. No. Wait, what? Oh, that should work. Nice track. It's called Almost Awaken by Subdream Starseed. I guess the album is Starseed. I absolutely dig acid. Yep. So that's the logic connection. Not helpful, but since we're there, let's cable that up too. No, that wasn't intentional. Hey, wait, did I? The power switch is on the opposite side. Stupid! Okay, now for the experiment. How much electricity are we currently eating? Too many? Too much? I hear no cable burst. 3.8 kilowatts. 3.8 kilowatts. Oh, interesting. That might be because the cables are... well... That's the amount of electricity that the thing can supply these from there, maybe. So maybe there's a limiter built into that thing. It doesn't supply anything and everything it possibly can, but a lot of it still. And that guy has the same limitations, so two of them charge you more. Power critical? I think that's kind of what we wanted to hear, right? Because why bother? That's the last time we hear that, hypothetically. And we would need another battery charger. We should place that in a different place than here. Is there a cable here? Let's not do that now, okay. Alright, I hear the call. So, these are charging, as we can see, 42, 43. 44. Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait. 46. Let's wait again. 48. See, all of them are charging, even though they're just loosely on the ground. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to do that for the sensor lenses, except if we only need them shortly. Let's try that then. Let's see how well we fare. Systematically, please. electricity, henceforth to be supplied via radio. That's already done. Already done. Okay then. And the other ones? Yeah. I don't know. That's not good. Let's turn off the chargers. Why was that happening? Was that because I went over here?
Power low.
Nah, this is a bit annoying now. We have to fix all those cables, and who knows? Maybe something is still turned on and will not be turned off, or something's open or active or burning or exploding soon. I mean, all that can happen. You have to be careful. So, that in the future, then we will have this. Though maybe we're not yet ready for that due to our stupid cable network. Fuck. Yeah, actually, yeah. Okay, I'm stupid. I should swap all of these back. I mean, the cable network has to be prepared for that. I can probably wire something up from here. I can basically use heavy cables here down to the ground. Then I make the station from an APC that separates the networks. Or could use a transformer, which limits the energy that goes in there. So then we would have brownouts, you know, some light turning off, some electricity, I don't know. I actually didn't want to go into cable networks yet, but I guess we are doing that in stride, then whatever. So let's turn to or should we? Yeah, many things at once. That's what's happening. The sensor lenses. Let's use them. Wrong. Where did I toss that ship? Oh, in the airlock? Dude. That would not have been funny. Oh, see, there's even an arrow blinking here. And see, the radio battery, we can now see how fast that is being eaten by the meson scanner. Oh yeah, there we can see that's what a burnt out cable looks like. Well, I think before we fix that, let's make sure that it doesn't happen again. Too bad we have all that crap lying around. Well, the video is kind of taking a nosedive right now. It's like when you have a down during the day, suddenly getting tired or suddenly being hungry, though it's not your time to eat, which I always only do in the afternoon. Since 2005 I've been using a intermittent fasting diet. Diet, so to speak, is routine by now. I can't imagine it differently. I eat 1 time a day and drink 1 time a day. Of course, since it's 2 liters and since eating takes a bit, that's spread out. But like I come home from work and then I eat and drink. Yep. I know that's weird, but I've been doing this for since 2005 every day, and it's awesome. Can only in the clarity of mind, the further you are from the last meal that you have eaten, it's great. Just like when you eat something, you're like, you know, done for the day. So in the same way, the more you distance yourself, or the more distant you are from the last time you have eaten, yeah, that makes that mind more clear. Not that you get the impression from what I'm saying and doing in the videos, but, you know. Okay, so here we have the electricity that goes out there. And I guess here we will just start a new electricity network. What's with the logic? Okay, the logic. How does that work? Is the logic already meaningfully connected to something? Yes, we're reading that out and we're reacting with a blink, blink, blink. So that needs to go to that network then, that logic. So that it can be used in that. I mean, I can of course act differently. I can say the power of that IC that does that oh, that's actually this one. The power of this one comes from this cable network that I might start here now, and the logic comes from there. But I don't like that. This would dedicate this then for that. And also, I want to react to the battery state. Anyway, blah blah. Okay, let's do it. Okay, we have 2 or 3 burnt cables by now. Let's see if we can find the others. Well, let's say this is turned off. That other thing is also turned off, yes? Yeah, but turned off is insufficient. It's also cut its power completely, so that we're sure. In case some funny guy, which is me, turns that off again. I knew I dropped something. Must be over here. Oh, no, I didn't.
Power critical.
Yeah, that's no longer being resupplied. But these ones are 82%. Yeah, that works too. Okay, now let's repair all the cables that are fucked, so that the station is at normal state again. Then see to that the station can go overdrive regarding power. Sensor lenses on. Go gadgeto. Too bad it doesn't explicitly show a burnt cable. Well, that looks like one. But does it? No, it doesn't. That's a chip. It's quite annoying to have such a problem. What? Huh? What just happened? That's confusing because I thought we were just between the two realms of cooling where it would turn on only when it reaches the border. Maybe it's just random that this happened just now. I hope so, else we have a bug or something. That was for the centrifuge. Those are still working. It's like the bug hunt. Maybe I should do this off camera, but I think the meson scanner is new enough that it... oh, look at that. I found the cable. Right, I cannot place this cable here, which would give me leverage so that I can pick up the cable with the wire cutter, but I can also not wire cut it because of this stupid thing on the ground. Fuck! No, the right one, please. What is happening? I swear I'm currently working through a zip file. Okay, that works. Ah, guess who? It's actually rather late. My schedule today is completely fucked. But that's alright, because I have a day off tomorrow. that happens. And despite you not being interested in that, I will tell you regardless. So we fixed this cable and that cable, and I don't know if there are more cables that... Oh, I am disappointed. There's a chip down there, we know that. Chips thankfully don't burn out, but that will be coming eventually, I think. Because currently you can basically place them, I don't know, anywhere. I don't think they get even be destroyed by heat. Or do they? Maybe. But later there will be different, as I heard, okay, I'm not entirely sure. There will be different kinds of chips with different capacities, maybe amount of lines of codes or whatever. And you will also put them into the respective housing to protect them from heat, and maybe they might actually require atmosphere. I'm not sure exactly how it will be. Well, okay, I guess we have searched enough. I have not found anything else, and let time do the telling then. Alrighty. So the meson scanner was actually already useful. So let's fix that stupid power network crap here. Heavy cables here. No fuse here. Then I would start another cable network with an APC or a transformer. Let's use a transformer. Because the upside of the transformer is... I mean, the downside of the transformer is it doesn't buffer battery. But we don't need that. We have our station batteries right there. The upside is that not only does it separate power networks like the APC also does, but also you can set the amount of power that it shall maximally let through. So in a way it's not really a transformer. Now I don't know which one to make. Small.
On Soma FM.
Transformer small. 0 to 5000 watts. So I can adjust that in that scale. Seems kind of wasted to do it like this then, right? But again, the cable will not burn out, there will instead be brownouts. I hope that I will actually notice them when they happen. Because I have basically no experience with these. I only used them once on my Vulcan base where I have like 10,000, okay, it's my like 130 upright wind turbines. That's the small ones we have here too, not the tall ones. The tall ones are great for storms, but are not much better than the small ones on everyday use, because they have a lot of... they are rather big, and they take a lot of space, and they... Let me turn that down. And they, of course, take more resources. They're harder to make, basically, than the upright ones. So I have many of those, and then during a storm, suddenly the output would spike over 100,000, so the cables would burst. And so I put 2 transformers there in parallel, because the large transformer's maximum setting that you can use is 50,000. So I just put 2 of them there in parallel. So in parallel, then they let through maximum 100,000, and that indeed protected the situation. So I benefited from the many wind turbines, but I didn't suffer the amount that that's too much. Some guy on Discord actually found a better solution than that, or I mean arguably, and maybe that can be even improved upon. They had 2 wind parks, so to speak, and those went into 2 power banks, and these 2 power banks were bridged by and this whole system was bridged by a cable with a fuse. And so if there would be too much power coming in there, then the fuse would burst, but then both networks would still receive their respective half of the wind park, you know. So we can use this one to limit it down to 5,000. This takes 10 watts. What does the large one take? 10 watts. Huh. Up to 50,000. Let's make a small one. Hey, wait, medium? 25,000. When the fuck does that ever happen? Small one. I've never made a small one. Transformer small. 10 iron. Ah! Iron, my bane, my undoing. Where's my iron? Ah, shit, okay. By the way I did it here with the stackers, as cool as it is, if you turn this off too quickly, then it won't work. Let's say you're making pipes, and then when the next pipe that you actually don't want is going on, you just switch this off. What will happen is it will spit out all the pipes it has so far, and actually that works. However, if the last one is still underway here and then you turn it off, then what will happen is it spits out the previous one and then actually also the last one. Because I guess when the pipe comes in, it will sense, oh, now there's a pipe in there, and then it will be turned on and spit that out. Or maybe it's just timing. Didn't I just... Oh, right. Of course. So that requires a bit different approach. Very small thing. So I've been told that since this thing uses 5,000 watts, you have to turn it down a little from 5,000 to 4,999 whatever, because then the combination will be 5,000, and so the cable from which it hangs will suffer the full load. But my experience on Vulcan, where I had the described 50,000 watts situation, when I turned them up to the maximum of 50,000 during a storm, my cables did not burst. I don't know if I either didn't hear a cable burst down there in the large wind park, that maybe that happened. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, in this case it doesn't matter, because we will not give this guy a small cable as input, but a big one. Everything that comes from these batteries shall have a big dick. Okay. So then we can also pipe that to the other building, for example. Actually, we need a real battery station at some point. Okay, then let's kill all those cables, shall we? Do we have enough big cables? Yes, we do, because I did all that between videos. Wait, in which direction? Ah, shit, I have to do that again. The floor covering is great, but realistic, let's say that. Europa, where are you? Man, this fiddly shit now. This will cost us a whole hour. Let's remove these two so they're not confused more than usual. Let's change that track. I mean, it's kind of nice, but it also kind of isn't. Ah, screwdriver. Heavy cables. By the way, you can connect this like that. That works. Obviously, we don't want that here. So let's connect the outputs. No, I don't like that. Because the association shall be the power. Therefore I will connect the right side. I could also just connect them horizontally, like maybe that would even be wiser. But then we would have like deep nip. I don't know. Also this way the stacks are independent. I mean at some point we will have the large station battery, which let's check that out for a second. By the way, takes that large. Gold we have, copper we have, steel we have, electron we have, silicon we have, stellite we don't have, pretty sure. Silver, silicon, cobalt. Nope, not yet. Okay, let's bridge them, because that hasn't happened yet. And then we can just remove that stack while we slowly build over to the other stage. Maybe we can even build the large battery in here and so forth. So the stacks are easily separatable. Oh, what did I just say? Well, the backside is not relevant. It's not relevant for us now. Yes, I will actually go there if I have enough spray paint, which I'm convinced I do not have. Yeah, that's Terminator 2. We learned something today. No, not that way. I wish this hadn't happened. But you know, I don't really prepare for the video, I just roll with it, and often good stuff happens, sometimes bad stuff. That's what it is then. Use the chapters. So, everything is connected and they're full. Why? Because we're not using it. We're using them at all. Where's that transformer? There it is. So let's be careful with what we do here. I don't want to... Okay, we can go from here to the side. So we have that outside with high power. So we can also pipe that over to the Omni Transmitter. Then it will be safe to use. Here that will be a bit more cumbersome to do. But anyway, so... And then the transformer goes here. And it shall be black, but we don't have spray paint. Input. Okay, whatever the fuck just happened. Not a problem, because we learned something today. What is happening? Why doesn't it turn on? Does it have to have an output connection to turn on? That's pretty wicked, excuse me. Let's use both hands. So I can now continue on this side into the station. So things start working again. Aha, then it turns on. Pretty fucked up if you ask me, and you do. So. Right, so this thing gets its, how do I do this then? I mean, this thing is supposed to control the station. Actually, I'm not sure if that works. Let's fucking do that. Let's just connect these. I think that might work, because from a logical perspective it makes sense. Otherwise I have to separate... It doesn't. Otherwise I have to separate. Let's do that then! Oh man. I mean, we're all learning something, for example, that I didn't prepare for this. So, if I separate out the logic of the batteries, then we will not have that problem. Oh my god. I think I will actually make use of YouTube's cutting feature again to just get rid of this ridiculousness. So that would be less painful. Ah. Okay, now how do I connect this? The logic needs to be connected among each other with itself, whatever that English is. Have a heavy cable. I actually don't need... Oh, well we added. Logic doesn't need heavy cables. No! Ach, damn it. Now let's bridge those in the appropriate fashion. Not to the side, no, first into the room, then to the side. It was so neatly placed. So that logic can then be on the other side of the transformer. Which transformer? This one. Maybe I can go to the side with this. That might make sense. Yeah, this is the nitty-gritty of Stationeers, and not all just fun and games. Power cable. It's not what that is. Can't distinguish them anymore. Wait, why is this not happening? Input. Excuse me. Oh, right. Maybe what has to be attached has to... like, maybe this is a brownout situation. That might be what it is. It's consuming already more electricity than this thing is currently delivering. No, again no. What is my fucking problem? God damn it. Ah, that's a logic connection, of course. Ah. That's better. Now let's bridge this logic and connect it. Probably not through this one. Okay. I think I will leave this in, as ridiculous as it is. Kind of a screensaver moment. Okay, no more complaint. But it doesn't react really to the station batteries. The current average value that it will read is 0, I guess. So let's give it some logic to crunch. Okay, logic connected to this. Connected to that. And the housing we see state 0. 1, 0, 1, 0. That's the blink state. Let's change the Can we do that? Oh, okay. Some cables still need some connection. No, that's not completely not what I intended to do. Yet I did it. I think we're back in business. Nice showstopper, right? I mean, I can definitely leave this in because I mean, apart from all my stupidity in handling this, ultimately, or rather clumsiness, because I'm not stupid, I don't know, suck in doing it. This is a nice learning experience. Because that can happen. And so now you have seen that. Or not, if you skip. Again, wire, logic, connected to that, or rather this too, because it's the same. This is all on the same network, logic and electricity. That is here. Whatever we suck now, electricity-wise, but I actually should have left the Omni Transmitters in. Because if I turn them on now, we will experience a brownout. And I want to experience one. I want to see what that's like. Hey, why are the lights not working? Which cable have I not yet connected?
Power low.
Okay, let's look around. Where do we have electricity? Where not? This has electricity. So does this.
Temperature high.
All of that has power. The only thing that doesn't have power is the lights. So I guess the trick to solve that is to look upwards. Hey, where's the cable? Yep, okay, now we should be fully restored power-wise. Alrighty. Let's turn on the Omni Transmitters. No, first attach them. Okay, check what electricity we are consuming, also save, because maybe the frustration will be larger than my patience. Oh, that's not much. Crap. Well, I guess I should alter the source code slightly. Damn, that's what I want to do, right? I wanted the housing to express what the situation is. Oh, it's just called IC housing, of course. Because I unbuilt it. IC power. Try again. IC power. Import. Edit. Is it currently writing something to the housing? Yes, the blink state, which we have seen works reliably. %. Okay, now we're consuming some electricity, 800 watts. Why was it like 1000 earlier? There was something else that consumed a lot of electricity. What was that again? Okay, anyway, let's just turn them on. $4,000 watts. Not enough, I need more. Good thing we have a wall heater here. And those take 1000 watts. Let's place that thing down, wire it up, and then we should have a brownout. Let's see what that's like. What? Oh yeah. I don't know what the exact reason for this now is, but yeah, that's what a brownout can look like. Things are on, things are off. But now we are protected. The cables are not bursting. Except the upstream cable, but that's, you know, a strong one, so nothing happens there. Yeah, let's leave them on. Let's leave them on. Because currently they're doing what they're supposed to. Ah, damn. And I like my wireless cables, and I want to be reminded from time to time that the current wiring is insufficient and needs to be fixed. What just happened? No more burnt cables from you, alright? Crowbar. My worker is dead. So let's remove that from the top of our stack and look what other things were underneath. I said cable, I said the radio batteries. And yeah, let's use them now everywhere.
Hunger caution.
Which also implies the necessity to deal with the cable at some point. This one has... This one has... Yup. The mining drill doesn't. Oh no, look, they're all blue. See, it doesn't charge when it's in the locker. Hilarious. But when it's here. Okay, we have just seen it charges 73. 74. 74. 74. Is it still a 74? 77. But so the batteries don't charge when they are in the locker, but they charge when they're in a thing that's in the locker. All right. That makes the most sense. That this guy is driven radio-wise, you know? I only have to care about the filter, not also about the battery. Yeah, wireless batteries. We have so much power now. Power batteries, nuclear battery. Now it's charging. See, soon it's gonna be full. Then I had the thought, and then we would basically need the wires, not anymore. Oh, we didn't have those even. Nuclear batteries being charged, and we got there from manufacturing something over here, which I don't remember what it was. I guess that lenses were related to it. Well, since I don't know exactly, let's just do the trading thing then. Okay, first see to it that we get enough food and stuff. Oh, do we still have small batteries somewhere? One maybe? I think not. And I think we should have one. Oh, will become clear later. I need some more oxygen. Thankfully I could just swap in my jetpack or the completely full canister of that thing. So instead of, you know, basically wasting more time with other stuff, I will do that now. And I will always take a nuclear battery with me. So if out there I need electricity, or do I? No, I don't. I do not. Because if that battery is empty, which it will be rather quickly because it's not as long lasting as the large normal ones, then I swap in a different one of my tools. And I don't have to remember that, because they will all be recharged. Nah. So, you have to make a landing platform, a landing pad. That's a kit, and the kit has built from the kit. Yeah, let's go to the kit. This is a kit, and it has the landing pad center, which is absolutely necessary, and then we have the landing pad pieces, which are decorative, you know. But you can only have one center, and you need one center. And I would assume that the system will measure from here to the outside. So if you have a 5x5 but put this thing in the corner, then maybe it will not complain, but your landing pad will be or have the size of 1. So, and you need this, the landing pad, data and power. All of that is in the same kit, and at least currently this thing also only takes one, let's go a bit more scientific, one of the set. Yeah, it sounds the same, man. And then you place that down, plop, plop, plop. What you get on Vulcan, for example, you get a 3x3. 1, 2, 3, and then the center you can place. But you don't get enough for doing a 5x5. Some traders want a 3x3, some want a 5x5, some want a 7x7. Some of them need to breathe atmosphere, and that means that you have to build a hangar in which they can land. Then you flood that using these large motherfuckers here with the right atmosphere. And some of them actually need to land using a landing strip, and then the combination of all the two. All of that happens, and of course, the harder it is for you to make that happen, the better the shit is that you get from these people. So that's what you need. You just plop these down, and they kind of, you know, this is supposedly they interlock, and this is also a power and gas connection. That's kind of implied here, because this thing here in the center, that's, at least that's the idea, also has a bit of gas and liquid storage. Not much, but a bit. So you can buy, can actually buy that stuff. But you cannot pipe it in or get it out unless you build the specific piece, not this one, but one that kind of looks like this for gas, and one that kind of looks like this for liquids. But even without those, you can at least trade that stuff. Yeah. I'm not doing anything other than farting. Be done with the fart jokes! No. Yeah, but you don't need those pieces, and what you thought so far, if you have heard about this concept overall, that you also need a vending machine is, I believe, also not true, because when they changed very recently in December that you can actually trade right into your hands, I think they also changed that you can trade out of your hands. In other words, you can trade without a vending machine, maybe some products not, anyway. Then you need a computer, and that computer needs to have a motherboard, and it is advisable to have your radio dish, this is the small one and also moves the fastest, that's why I put it here, that they are close together, so you can adjust and look and adjust and look. There are different ways to do that, of course. You can always do things different in this game, but we will do that like this now. So if you have multiple satellite dishes, they will be selectable here. If there's none, then they might even flash an arrow, I'm not sure. And you can have multiple landing pads connected, and this is this one. And you select the center, that's the idea. Now it says contacts. None. What does that mean? We currently don't have any contacts. Why? The radio dish is off, but we also have a log here. And how that works, well, the radio dish is anyone's guess. Here you can see the current, the current real world time where I am. 5:27 in the afternoon, and here you can see the Galactic Gases Trader has entered contact range. It will always be something the NNNP trader has NNNP, either entered or left. I wish this would be color coded, like enter green, left red, and so that would be very much more easy to digest, but maybe at some point in the future, I hope. So that means I could contact them now hypothetically. I don't have to look that up in the log. Let's just turn on this thing. And now we see already, there's a trader called Astroloy Appliances. And if you peruse the log, we might find out that currently not just that guy is within range, but maybe another one. Cosmic Crush is left.
Welcome to Exosphere, the dark side of Synthera.
The Nebula Necessities trader has left contact range.
Power low.
But here, Interstellar Essentials has entered contact range. Have they left? No, they have not. So why do we not see them then here? Because we are not having any sufficient radio connection to them. So we would have to have a larger dish, or we'd have to turn up the power somewhat. We're currently at 200 watts and something. I mean, okay, long story short, wire all that shit together. This too, right? You don't need that now, only when you call them down for trading. And to turn this thing on, then you would see something here. and then let's twist the knob. Then this progress bar will restart basically. And that is maybe not the best way to approach it, but this is one of the ways. You can then look around. Now let's accelerate this a bit. So what I'm dreaming of is one day building a whole array of these, which are already oriented in various directions, and then just let MIPS figure it out, you know? See that? I think it's now growing faster. So now let's circle in on that. We could also go here and click the... can we? No, we have to wait until it's completely full, which will not help us much, but at least I can click the button. I cannot call them down. First I have to interrogate them. That's some kind of official term that's always used by, I don't know, radio people. Sorry, I don't know. So interrogate sounds weird, but it's normal. Asteroid appliances cannot land as the target landing pad is unpowered. This is just a tooltip or the window giving you a tip. This is not relevant to this immediate situation. Contact needs 28 watts for 22 seconds. That is for us to be able to interrogate them. Currently 8 watts are being delivered of 200 watts. That doesn't mean 200 watts are required. 28 watts are required. 200 watts is what we're throwing out there in the world, and 8 watts are arriving. That is the dish used, not enough energy point. That's the conclusion from this. So that's what's written here. And this button would be interrogate, which is NA, not available. So we can now zero in on that somewhat. And you can always look at the progress bar, how fast it is filling, how radical basically. I think it is not really going faster, which means that we're kind of... Oh, look at that. Oh, what? Really? Okay then. Interrogated. We will have a trader soon. Few seconds. What our battery is doing? Don't ask. Contacted. Now I can push this button. Asteroid appliances. A trader has requested permission for landing. Contacting completed. Continue to call down lander. Yeah, and there should be an animation where the guy walks over here at some point. But let's first look at this nice spaceship, right? I don't know why that's happening. Some shadow casting effect from the lamps around me? Whatever. I want to fly this thing.
Power critical.
Oh, power critical? Well, then I would just do as I said I would. So this guy is now waiting for us to do stuff. You can see that he doesn't care much about the atmosphere, even though it's fucking cold, even bad for robots, but you know, that's the implementation. May I interrupt you, sir? Here we see the trading screen where you can buy and sell. Microwave, 25. You would say a microwave? We can make that ourselves. Yeah, you can, but maybe you currently don't have the resources and have tons of cash and whatever. It's just convenience that you can do that. And this is not all they sell. There are so many traders, you know? So anything of interest for us, we have the reagent processor we can make ourselves. We would need that, for example, if we use soy oil. Wait, can we use press pause here? Sadly, that is missing. Soy oil or whatever. But we can make that ourselves. We have made that ourselves. Yeah, there's our pill manufactory. Portable air conditioner, we have that even. Came with our lander. Portable scrubber is still unfolded and in use. Auto lathe construction kit. Now here you can see why the trader might be a desirable thing to have in the game. Your auto lathe so fundamental, if it's gone, there's still trading. But let's look for selling, because our cash is 200. We're not on Vulcan where you start with 800 and a landing pad because you don't have any seeds or ices, but we are on Europa where you start with everything basically except cash. So what the guy would like to have is water replenishment. Very important. Go over here and study this tooltip closely. You need to give them a container that contains 5 liters or more. The water ratio must be equal to 100%, so nothing else must be in there. And I guess they mean liquid water. I mean, we could also use gas, but I guess the tooltip is not so precise there, but I'm pretty sure it will not work. I think I tested that even. Yeah, well, you can see a temperature must be from 10 to 25 degrees. We have some of that in our base here. We could actually make these for him now. I just don't know how long he will stay. That might actually be futile to try, but I think we will try. Or a ship repair package with all that stuff, which is quite tedious to make, I guess, but look at all the money that you get from that. And, you know, it's not like this is always different. There's some standards. You can learn that, you can prepare for that, and then you can start trading. You can make cash. Cable coil. So he doesn't care about the color? Available 0. That is because... Don't click the wrong button. He's gone. Cable coil. Is that the weak one, the small one? Yep, that's the small one. Cell, cable coil, available 14. Almost looks like his number. And then we get this, which is nothing, but it's better than nothing. And then electronic parts. I think we have some of those in reserve still. But he only pays 1 for those, so why bother? That was just to demonstrate what you can do. Water. 75 of those sounds like worth my time. I don't know how long he will stay. I have always rushed and always stepped on the gas when the trader was near, so I don't know if they will leave eventually. So I will now try to give them water. That is required. Then a way to connect that. And then a canister. Yeah. Iron. Oh, fuck me. Let's make 2. Thanks, that's sufficient. Good thing we have enough water. And is it pure? I would assume so. Actually, it's not. Anything we can do about that? Filtration device. Build a filtration device in this short time? Forget it. But... no. That doesn't work. No, I think we can't do that now. We would have to prepare for that. But that seems like something worth our time, right? 75, you know? So now we currently cannot trade with them. Doesn't fly. Oh well. Then I would just tell him to fly away. Obviously the landing pad should be lit somewhat, instead of just being utilized, you know, and running around the flashlight all the time. I mean, this is what the planet looks like. That is not us being successful as someone who creates an outpost. That is still rudimentary shit, man. We're still at the beginning. So, what can we sell? Nothing. I can make some cables, yes, but it's not worth it. So, thank you. And that's trading.
Air tank low.
Yeah. So, by the way, if you want to figure out where someone is by turning this thing, then you might want to point it not exactly up there, because then when you rotate it, I mean, at least in my mind, how is that helpful? You rotate it and nothing's happening. I mean, if you want some contrast, you have to do this. What does the log say? Asteroid appliances we just had. Nebula nectars had entered Nebula nectars Nectars. Okay, that sounds like something edible. By the way, can we see more? No, we cannot. It might be that we need a medium satellite dish to even reach them. Or a large one. And then, if so, it might be that they need a landing strip. And so forth. I already said that. And boy, the medium satellite dish moves so slowly. But there's also a large satellite dish. Which kind of screams, that is late game stuff, you know, or kind of, where you have a whole park of these, oriented at different locations in the sky. So currently we can't really do something with this. We would need a medium one and so forth. Okay, that's that then. That was trading. And this one I made so, I mean, sometimes you have the opportunity to sell them a mining drill. Well, there's a mining drill. It's a basic, standard, stupid mining drill. And they wanted power. Well, there's our power, and I don't want to waste a nuclear battery on them. Yeah. Now I've kind of lost track where I was. Trading, we did. Super alloys. We did some of these actually. We made the glasses. Maybe we want to go for large station batteries now. I mean, you can rather easily replace these in their location. My helmet is closed.
Hunger caution.
Shut up! I'm eating already. What is this? United States McDonald's or whatever? Eat more, please do it. Everything smells of corn. We know that you like that. Which is part of the trick. I mean, if their food were any good, I wouldn't disagree. But it's not. And Burger King isn't better. It's all dog shit. So where was I? Eating, drinking, yeah. Well, so maybe I want to make a few signs. I think I placed one here. I wanted to make a corridor out there, you know, but I was building for more than a day on this thing out there and all the mining and all the improvements in here. And then I thought, yeah, fuck it, the weekend's almost over. This is... I want to do the fucking video now, so yeah. There would have been a corridor, and then I would have put up some signs of the things that I want to do at some point. Yeah. Didn't happen. Not yet. So one of the things we would want to do, large batteries. Maybe we should do that now. We need silver for that. How much silver do we have? We have enough silver because glorious me went mining. And wasted all the iron on steel once more. Gold, steel, electrum, silicon, stellite. Steel. Dude, did I use up all electrum already? No, I did not. Stellite, that's the stuff. We need 2 grams of that motherfucker, but we don't have that yet. So let's make it. I'm aware that I'm wasting fuel if I do it the way I'm currently doing it, like jump from A to B to Z, even though we were lucky when we made all these other things, right? The pressure was already high and so forth. But I don't want to feel burdened, I want to feel free, I want to do the things like I feel doing them, and so, you know, min-maxing it, or what the term is, I want to min-max my fun, man. Silver, silicon, cobalt. That sounds stupid, I know. Silver, silicon, cobalt. Silver, silicon, silicon, cobalt. Let's do that then. Silver, silicon, silicon, cobalt. Oh wait, cobalt? Right, that's the stuff up there.
Temperature high.
So what exactly do you require, dude? 1800 and then 10 megapascals. Temperature is very low. Pressure is relatively high for what we're trying to do, so let's first relieve some of that. And then let's beat the beast. No, that's the thing, you know, if you do that now, it might be too, oh, it does that. It might be too cold to actually process, and that might never open again.
Anti-critical.
Which is kind of a problem when you,
Jetpack critical.
when you're, wait, what? What's happening? Yeah, what I just put in there was, among other things, silver. And silver has, I believe, N2O, which is super fuel. If that comes in contact with volatiles. Okay, let's leave them both ready. Temperature, not high enough. It seems to be warm in here. And if you could see the heat somehow, I mean, yes, the air is kind of distorted slightly, maybe, though I don't see that right now, actually. When does that fucking shader kick in? 10 minutes after? Well, 1800, that's not what we have, so we need to make it hotter, so we need to reduce the pressure. Which means that we need to keep an eye out on this one, but there's lots of capacity. Nope. Yes. Normally a reason to panic, but not with the advanced furnace. Still more heat, god damn it. Admittedly, I was distracted. But yeah, that's my mistake. Whoops! For fun, let's see what happens if we respawn, but I will not take this. That's a reload moment. Everything is gloriously broken.
Oxygen low. Toxin detected.
What? This is not me? It's not my jetpack? It's
Oxygen
pressure.
critical.
Debris. Yep, here we go again. I actually had to redo some things because the last save was like half an hour old. So let's first
Temperature high.
get rid of the... Oh, right. Pressure. I am confused.
Waste tank caution.
No, fuck. Oh, shit, man. Yeah, I mean, imagine from scratch. Now that you're deeply in Stationeers with your mind, everything's normal. Yeah, there's the lever. You have to go over there. Oh, this is annoying. Whatever. But zoom out. Look at this thing from. Oh, damn! Did you just lose that? No, we didn't. From the neutral standpoint, the neutral perspective is you have Pac-Man or Tetris or some shooter or whatever. And here you have a game where you can do all this meaningful stuff. And you can operate this lever, and what does it do? Well, someone installed this, it's hard-coded. So you load that map, and in one map then you have to make some smelt stuff, and then you use the furnace, and then there's this one lever at the top, you know, with the... No. You can all design it the way you want. It's all freedom. This game is so unfathomably great. So let's get some temperature in here. That's enough for the purposes. Pressure? All right. Yeah.
Temperature critical. Temperature high.
Maybe that should be a bit taller. What do you think? So, silver, silicon, silicon, cobalt. That we have. Silver, silicon, silicon, cobalt. Yep. And then about the heat. 10 to 20 megapascals, that's the problem here. And needs to be hot enough. So we need to reduce the pressure. Which is our problem. Ten to 20. Should be it. Stellite. Time for batteries. What's our fuel doing? Oh, now I remember something that I wanted to do still. Maybe we want to do that too, even though it's fucking late, man. My schedule is completely fucked. 7.48, so it's below 8. Oh, what the fuck? The alarm is not wired. Aha! There was another cable! Good, because I think there was some, and now we found it. And I think that would be blinking now, because we're below 8. Okay, let's start the manufacturing of that battery. Meanwhile, I would try to fix that cable, which would be interesting because on the same cable network. You know, as an interrupted production. And the other thing that I wanted to do, yeah, before I forget that, I wanted to put up a sign, right? Yeah, the sign's no longer there. No sign to be seen. Huh. Because of the loading. Let's look at this thing for a second. Yep, boring, and this thing is exactly in the center. And that shall be our volatiles tank. How big it is? You want to know? Are you curious? It has 50,000 liters capacity. Let's compare that with our smart jetpack canister, 64 liters. So if you say it is 50, let's say that's 50 liters. 50 liters, 50,000 liters. 1,000 times this. Except not exactly, because that's 64. Is the battery done? It's not done. Too bad I can't see the progress. Oh, that is an interesting thing. Some kind of overview of all the manufacturers at the same time with their progress on one wall or something. That sounds like a worthwhile endeavor. Okay. Yeah, we have to take care of that. Yes.
Airtime critical.
Is the battery done or not? It's still manufacturing. Very good. 86%. It wasn't interrupted. So now I want to make some oxygen here. I mean, for my tank, you know. That is still a tedious, cumbersome thing, because I haven't yet done that. Haven't yet solved that. Pure O2, and here we have some other stuff, pollutant even. Crap. Oh, okay, then I have to vent all of that into... This is closed. You can always see the thing is horizontal versus the pipe, then it is closed, the same as in reality. See how empty it is. I'd actually like to see that over there too. Some spontaneous change. You know, that's the thing. What do I do next? Something spontaneous, probably. It's yellow. Do you have a problem with yellow? Oh right, I need that again. Ah, fuck me, it's empty! And this thing now, it needs iron that I don't have. It has iron, they're good. Wasn't it a pipe meter? Yes. Iron. See, that's one... I mean, seriously, we all play this game all the time like this, that we're putting stuff in there, and then we're fetching it from somewhere else, or rather maybe from a locker and such. But since that is such a major thing to deal with again and again, one of our goals definitely must be to automate that whole stuff, you know? To get... to have some central place from which they get fed, and then some MIPS chip checks if all the things that are available are in there in sufficient amount. If not, it will smelt that. You know, I mean, at least I could prepare such a thing. It would not yet be auto-fed because we don't have deep miners and such, but at least that second step, that these get fed automatically, that would be something. And, you know, I could analyze the current recipe and then just feed that, but fuck it. Just all of the 9 or so things that there are. And, yeah, give me that, it's mine. So. This should be empty. And now we can just look by pointing how full this is. It is not full. Pressure, no. Well, time to step on the gas then. And where's the blue spray paint can? What are my other tanks doing? The drill should still be complete. Yeah, almost done. So let's do this then. But I think this can already be emptied.
Hydration critical.
And we're full. And that's how you do that. Once you have done it so many times wrong that at some point you have indeed learned it. Here. Now some food and drink. Yeah, and at some point I should make some greenhouse so that I can have the soy oil, so that I can make the cans, which, you know, for the cans you need the soy oil. And then I just have to nibble on some can and problem solved. How many potatoes do we have? 4, that's enough. Okay, let's put up the battery. Which comes with a downside, and I will explain it later. And draw apart. Oh, the downside? What's this with the downside? Is it a downside? Why there are no downsides on this battery? No. Yeah, what I mean though is currently we have this battery automatic blinking thingy, and then we have to adapt the code. And that is easier done than said. What I'm doing here is stupid. I should do that on this side, you know, from left to right. Interesting. That thing was flashing an error. No, this thing. What error might that have been? Let's see. Was it this or the ink runner? Ah. What is it saying? Current flashing error. Incorrect logic type at line 51. I guess because the battery is currently not fully built, so the attempt to read from that type of object works, fails, and then it says that logic doesn't exist, and then the error. Is my interpretation. Anger grinder. And then we're screwed. Nope. Oh. Wrench. And the error is gone. Oh, look here. There was some something in the logs. Cannot set the parent of the game object pool while its new parent structure battery is being destroyed. Well, it's just, you know, irrelevant. Irrelevant. And now we have some batteries in reserve, which might become useful if we make some kind of outpost over there, you know, then we just plop down a battery as if it were nothing, because now they are nothing, because we got the big ones. I think that one big one is worth as much as 3 of the small ones. Let's see. Large battery. Large battery. Station battery large has a amount of 9 megawatts. 9,000,000. And the other one, the station battery, has a charge of 3,6. Okay, so 2 of these are 7,2. And now the new one that I just placed down will have 9. In other words, we didn't win much by doing that. Interesting. 3.6. 6,000,000. Yeah. 3 and 3 is 6. 6 and 6 is 12, which is 7.2. And 9 is what we will get. So, yeah, it's not much actually. But let's do it anyway. Because why not? If I only had to remember where there. Not this way, that way. Ah, crap. Can we make another one? Large battery needs gold, needs steel. Some more steel, some more gold. Yeah, let's make another one. Let's completely swap that shit out. I mean, what I would have to do the math correctly is as follows. Instead of taking the average of the one type of battery, like I did so far, then I would also have to deal with the other, right? But just taking the average of the other than 2 and adding those together, that doesn't fly. Because let's say I have 10 trillion station batteries, which are all full of the large ones. And then I have one small station battery that is empty. Then I would add together 1 and 0 and would take the average, which is 0.5. Even though I still have electricity until the third to next storm or some. Yeah, unbuilding those station batteries right now seems a bit iffy. But let's not do that then. Let's just make this one first. What does it require? Probably some welding. You need steel sheets in the left hand. Now it will say, no, you need 4 more steel. Yeah, okay. The amount of steel sheets is unfathomable. Steel sheets. 12. That should be sufficient for even both batteries.
Temperature high.
Now it should actually cool down the base, and it does so. Automatically there. Turning on our opening to the outside. And so it cools down near these things. What else is required? I presume it will be the screwdriver. No, I need electronic parts in my left hand. Well, it's interesting that they wrote left hand instead of other hand. How many do I need then? 2. In other words, I need 2 more. Okay, the station battery is hypothetically built completely. Or is it? It looks a bit naked. Hand roll to denotes complete. And it's charging. So we're currently benefiting from it. Cool. Nice. So we can remove this ridiculousness. However, how do we connect it then? Dude. our current consumption, 1.5 kilowatts, incoming 300 watts. So if I just remove everything and just let this thing basically be a wire, we'd not fare very well. We'd have to wait for a while or turn on the thingy, you know, the coal thingy over there, the thingy thing. Let's remove that cable, for it is no longer desired. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's not that empty. I guess it just read 0 because this thing is too empty. What happens if I remove? Okay, if I remove this cable, then there will be no difference because this battery type is not being read by the code. The code is currently reading 0. That is one. That is so the code believes that we have no electricity. That is why it's turning on and off the lights to show us that. Hilarious. So connected logic, connected power. Now we need 2 electronic parts. And one thing that's a thing that I want to say for like 2 hours or whatever. What I always wanted to do is make a progress bar-ish display that doesn't just consist of a diode slide, but consists, for example, of, like, say, here on this wall there's a light, and then MIPS controls that, and that's fuller, and less full. If we use LEDs for that, we can even control their color, so we can say reddish, less red, and so forth. But these up here are out, and the ones down here are on. Or just, you know, big bright lights. The thing is, if these are on, 50, 100, 150, 200, we will have like 800 watts then just for displaying how full the batteries are, which will drain the batteries quite a lot. It's ridiculous for this relatively early in the game still. Then again, this means that they will be sucked empty, so this will be shut down and so forth until we reach like this point or that point when we might have some kind of equalization, and this in turn might give us a feeling of how good our power production is versus our power consumption. So that does make sense. Hello. That doesn't belong, and therefore it's gone. Did I make the electronic parts? Yes, I did. Did I make one? What? Need one more. Give that to me, thanks. And just now, just for a moment, we were literally running on batteries. Or should I put that in here again? Didn't do us much good earlier, did it? I mean, on the other side there was also one, and it should have blown instead of the cables dying. I don't know what happened there. Grinder! Wrench! Yes, I know, very off-putting, but thanks for telling me that. Weld. And then some electronic parts. Big battery. Well, let's teach our source code a lesson. Excuse me? Alright, we're still below 20%. That makes sense. What does the housing say? Yeah, 4%. And it's counting up, so we're doing well. So this will stay for a bit. I mean, I'd like to continue now and build actually this display that I talked about, made out of lights showing the station battery state and so forth. But not only are we running low on resources, iron and such, so I have to go mining again and so forth, but also it's late. I mean, it's not really late, but I got some schedule here. I'm already 2.5 hours late, so there's that. Damn it. So that's the large station batteries and making some of the advanced alloys. Impressed? No? See? But good that we have those. Let's look at this. 5.4, 5.5. 5 huh? Ah, right, the logical. Okay, let's try that then. Let's cut it out. Now we're seeing 11%, because that's how full this guy is. But the other one is not so full. How full is the other guy? 1% basically. And that's why together that makes us 0.6%. Yep. Anything of note right now? Other than it needs to be spray painted black. No more iron here, that's full. No, I think we're done for now. This is all for today. That was episode 8. And it ends right now.